number?
Oh, sorry. Scott.
They said it was gonna be up here.
I
don't know.
Well, they'll figure it out, right? We just went Johnson late, right? At 9:45. So he came this morning.
Hi.
Hi.
Were you going to speak on behalf of the drainage issues on Johnson too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Were you going to?
But you have a vote on the board. It's just they need a chair. But, I mean, it's gonna just take 3 minutes.
Never, no, that's exactly right. Sorry, let's strip this off.
Okay, we need to go. We're gonna start our meeting.
Okay, yes, right, let's go.
Where's Oakley?
No clue.
He's in the room, or he was.
Oh, he's
There
right
he
there.
is. He's on.
He's talking.
I'm doing the meeting.
I'm going to call him.
Okay.
He can't hear.
Oh, yeah, I turned that one off. I never know how to.
You can go ahead.
You can gavel anytime.
Okay, all right. We're going to call this special meeting of the MPO to order at this time. This time we'll ask our Deputy County Clerk to call the roll.
Scott Black.
Here.
Here, Scott Tremblay. Not present. Councilman Matt Murphy. Not present. Commissioner Oakley.
Here.
Commissioner Moore.
Here.
Commissioner Starkey.
Here?
Commissioner Fitzpatrick. Not present. Commissioner Mariano.
Here.
Chairman Smith, who is not present.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Do we have a quorum?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
5
very
people,
good.
we have a quorum.
At this time, we'll take the opportunity for public comment. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to address the MPO, we'll take your comments at this time. Hearing none, we'll move into our first order of business. We do have an action item, Commission for Transportation Disadvantaged Designated Official Planning Agency, Mr. Makasa.
This is a grant that we are needing your approval to receive. It will fund the operations of the MPO.
Move for approval.
Second. We have a motion, we have a second to approve. Any questions? What's the favor of the board? What's the pleasure of the board? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Thank you. Our item number 2, MPO Urban SDKey Sole Source Scope. Mr. Makasa.
Yes, this is a software program that we'll be using. It'll be critical in our long-range plan update, as well as create some staff efficiencies. We seek your approval of this.
Move for approval.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Thank you. Any comments for the good of the order before we adjourn?
No, sir.
One.
Oh,
I did drive on that divergent diamond this week. Whew.
getting there.
Yeah, it was, it's an experience when you start driving on the wrong side of the road. So, but I was happy to do it.
You've been doing
so
that.
It's
What's
getting
that?
there. That's it.
If there's nothing further, we'll adjourn our meeting. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you.
you.
Well, it's good that
Good
you
to
came
see- good to
over.
see ya.
Because we needed you.
Good to be here.
Hey, Catherine, you didn't hear me.
Huh?
I said, you said it was a difference driving on the left side of the road. And I said, you've been doing that. What's the deal?
Driving on the wrong side all these years?
Every once in a while I do it accidentally.
Oh,
See, I'm walking away with half your papers, too.
Okay, wait, is this yours?
Good to see you.
Scott, good to see you.
No, that's for the section, it's a revised attendance.
Okay.
I'm showing 3. If you, oh, okay. For 2 different things. Yeah, it's
Oh, really?
71 and 72. Okay, thank you.
No, that's it.
Okay, these addendums. Here we go with the addendums again. I haven't even looked to see where they come. So you have to help keep them straight.
Okay, that must be yours?
Me?
Yes.
Okay. I just didn't, it didn't look like it didn't plug into mine, so.
I didn't plug anything in last night. Ah, I'm doing okay over here. Okay, where's Fitzy? Todd? Christina? Okay, I will now call back to order the Pasco County Board of County Commission meeting of August 24th, 2022. Please silence all electronic devices and mute your microphones. We are going to proceed with public hearings, starting with ordinance P65.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Victorio Spitos with the Planning and Development Department, item P65. I'll go ahead and read that into the record. It is an ordinance by the Pasco County Board of County Commissioners amending the Pasco County Land Development Code Section 1104 flood damage prevention to bring the county's flood damage prevention regulations in line with the model ordinance approved by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and to coordinate with Chapter 18 Buildings and Building Regulations of the Pasco County Code of Ordinances, amending Land Development Code Appendix A definitions and other sections as necessary for internal consistency, incorporating FEMA's most recent flood insurance study for Pasco County establishing areas of special flood hazards, recodifying building official to perform analysis for building permit applications on structures within flood hazard areas, and providing method process for such analysis, requiring signed declaration of land restriction, non-conversion agreements for projects proposing to enclose areas under elevated buildings, certain crawl spaces, and certain accessory structures, adding requirements for activities altering sand dunes or mangrove stands in coastal A zones, recodifying elevation information prior to issuance of a certificate of occupancy in coastal A zones, recodifying county approval for letters of map changes to FEMA, recodifying encroachment, development, and fill on properties within floodways, adding and/or recodifying restrictions on location of critical facilities, detached accessory structures, manufactured homes, RVs, park trailers, tanks, decks, patios, and other development in floodways, recodifying FEMA guidance, publications, and technical bulletins by reference, changing variance procedure from planning commission to hearing officer process, requiring data to be provided in areas identified as sheet flow and ponding, providing a variance process for certain agricultural structures, additional specific findings required for variances, providing for or amending the following definitions: accessory structure, agricultural structure, coastal A zone, critical facility, declaration of land restriction, non-conversion agreement, existing manufactured home park or subdivision, expansion to an existing manufactured home park or subdivision, flood hazard area, historic structure, letter of map change, LOMC, limit of moderate wave action, LIMWA, market value, new manufactured home park or subdivision, and park trailer park model, providing for applicability, repealer, providing for severability, inclusion into the land development code, and an effective date.
Sure, got all that?
I think so.
Okay, that's a long one. We do need to have the clerk talk about when it was noticed.
Madam Chair, this item was previously noted for hearing in July 12th, and continued to this date.
Okay, board members, do you have any questions for staff?
I've got a couple. On section 6C, 1104.22, it says a deck or patio has a vertical thickness of more than 12 inches.
Oh, yeah, that was over there. Okay, what was the number, Jack, again?
It doesn't have regular pages, so I apologize.
1104.
1104.22, section 6C. It talks about wave run-up and a wave reflection. And actually, D goes the same thing. I'm just wondering what type of research or engineering would you be able to get or people are gonna need to get to actually have this type of development approved. I thought there was an issue with the state and the federal that they didn't know if it was gonna be properly or enforced well.
I'm going to go ahead and introduce Esra Liemi, the building official, to help explain.
Good luck.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Commissioner Mariano, can you repeat the question, please?
On section 6C, actually the whole section from A, B, C, D, it talks about wave run-up. And I thought one of the things we read in the federal and state was worrying about how they were going to measure that and who's going to be able to do the engineering of that.
Okay, do you have any? Come on, engineer. we answer
And
the
I thought we
question.
were going to leave that out, so I'm really confused about it, unless I'm misreading it.
So we can't leave that out because that's very similar to floodway.
Does he have to introduce?
So we have to,
Would you introduce yourself for the
sorry.
record?
Sam Patel, Building Construction Services. And we can't remove that from the section because that's,
So, I mean, you saw the document I'm talking about from the state, the word about how you're going to enforce this. How is someone going to get approved from this? And I'm just wondering if you've addressed that issue, because I don't see it here, and I didn't expect to see it in there.
the wave run-up analysis.
Sure.
So that would be done by the engineering firm when it comes to, but that's only on very minimal areas.
So on Boatyard Drive, when we redid that one, I believe, we had a situation where we denied it. The gentleman had to go out and get an engineer to go set it up. But from what I understand, in the marketplace, there's no engineer now that's out there that can actually do the engineering that we may be requesting.
From what I was told by FEMA, was that the county, when the county did the coastal wave run-up through the coastal A zone, when we remapped the area on the coast side, there were engineering firms that handled that, and that's where they came up with the coast wave run-up analysis.
And I'm still uncomfortable. We're going to pass something that's going to be tough for people to get development done because of this.
Is this where there's the Limwa line? People within the Limwa?
No,
Right.
that's, no.
This is in the floodways.
Well, Jack, we have to have it in there.
Well,
So I guess someone's gonna have to figure it out.
Well, but
I may be the guinea pig, I don't know.
And that's what concerns me.
Yeah.
Again, they mentioned it's going to be tough. And I'm going to tell you, when we did that structure, we had like those 4 homes on Boatyard over in Hudson, that we did the rezoning classifications to let the development come in. When they come in, the gentleman come in, did 2 things. One was to build it, and he had to go out and get an engineer to specifically look at to where this run-up analysis was, and that should have really set the tone for the rest of us up and down the coast, but it hasn't. And now that the gentleman he had, I tried to bring him forward, he's now retired. I don't know if there's someone who's gonna be able to actually do this, and with the state or federal or both stating this concerns about this, I'm just wondering, is this written exactly how other counties are written?
Correct, it is.
I mean, exactly.
No, because there's no adverse impact, very similar to floodway.
Okay.
Can I follow up on that question, Jack?
Yeah,
So
please.
if this is required to get approval, perhaps we need to learn how to approve it so that things can keep moving. You know, if there's no one out there in the private sector who knows how to do it. I can't find the paragraph you're talking about, but I remember hearing about it. But, you know, we don't want anyone to get held up, and so maybe we need to train someone.
So it's
learn.
actually under G, under other development, and then it goes to number 6.
G, okay.
And Madam Chair, is this one of the items that has to be added to the ordinance for the 20%
They say,
discount?
yeah.
For,
G. Well, Zach, I don't see it in mine.
It doesn't, 1104.22.
1104.
It's on page point 22.
Can you pull it up on there, what he's talking about?
I'm using the strike through. I'm using the strike through.
Commissioners, Sally Sherman, Deputy County Administrator, Administrative Services. Commissioner Mariano, I do recall the reference that you're making, and yes, there are limited amount of engineers that are able to do this type of analysis, but they are out there. And yes, it does require an engineer in order to conduct the analysis.
So do we have the engineer to be able to check on the engineer?
We do have someone who can look at it, look at the information that is submitted, and make sure that it meets all the requirements of how it should be done. But we're going to, again, be reliant on the information that's provided. And as long as they do what is necessary to go through the steps to establish the wave run-up, then there should not be a problem.
Should not be is not quite acceptable, however. So let me ask this. So with what we're passing, and again, we've got to pass it into certain requirements from the state and Fed, I get that. We got to follow the rules that are there. I just want to make sure the language you've got in here is exactly or no different than what the state has required, and nothing different from what other counties have done as well, that are going through the same process.
Yes, sir. This is the language that was in the information from the FEMA guidelines in our state ordinance, draft ordinance that we have included.
Okay. Okay.
Did you locate it, Chair?
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to keep moving forward, but I think this is gonna be an issue for the whole state, so we have to see how we deal with this one, right? There's no one out there who knows how to do it.
And please understand, as I indicated, there are engineers out there that can do it, but they are a select few because it is a unique offer. But that's just like you, if you have stonework that you want a certain, or you only have a few that do it, but they are out there and available.
Okay. I guess it's an economic opportunity for
Yes.
someone.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
I just don't, we've
Yeah.
got to get it done. I don't know
Right.
what else to do.
Agreed, so let's
You
keep
know.
And then
moving
they
on.
can lose the 20% discount. And just
Any
refund.
other questions?
Move for approval.
Well, let's.
Second.
No, public hearing.
Oh, thank you. Forgot about
I
that.
see.
Thank you.
I see Barbara Wilhite in the audience. I don't know if she can comment to it, no?
So, I do want to thank Barbara and others who worked on their own dime, spent a lot of hours and a lot of time putting this together. Staff worked very hard on this as well, and I know it was complicated, but necessary, so we appreciate all of it. Barbara, you want to say something? Yeah. And John, too. We thank John, yeah.
Barbara Wilhite, 6327 Grand Boulevard, Port Richey, Florida. Good afternoon. Yes, John Moody and myself spent a lot of time on this ordinance, as did a lot of you, I think all of you, and your staff. With regard to the specific issue and that specific analysis that's required, John Moody tracked it down, made sure the language matched, made sure it really was required. He really labored over it because he knew it could be a potential issue,
Right.
but we weren't able to find any solution. And I think your staff looked at it as well, as hard as they could, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for all your help, too.
Absolutely.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak to this item?
Madam Chair, we have no one signed up in advance or online.
To the board?
Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move for approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? A roll call, okay.
Our first,
District 1, Chairman Oakley, or District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
aye.
District 4, Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye, thank you. P66.
We have proof of publication of a previous meeting. This was continued at both the June 21st, 2022 board meetings to August the 9th, and then again at the 9th to this day.
Madam Chair, item P66 is an ordinance by the Pasco County Board of County Commissioners amending the Pasco County Code of Ordinances, Chapter 18, Buildings and Building Regulations, providing that appeals of actions taken taken or denial of proposed construction shall be heard by a hearing officer using same rules and procedure as demolition appeals when such denials are based on load and flood requirements, repealing local technical amendments to Florida Building Code that have been incorporated into Florida Building Code by the state, adding requirements for submittal documents for commercial and residential structures, amending definition of substantial improvement to clarify that repairs or improvements shall be calculated based on the cumulative value of 49% and repairs made within a 1-year time period, and clarifying when corrections of code violations may be excluded from substantial damage calculations, prohibiting stem wall foundations in coastal A zones, limiting the use and partition of enclosed spaces below the design flood elevation, correcting incorrect internal references and references to the land development code where necessary, providing for applicability, repealer, providing for severability, inclusion into the code of ordinances, and an effective date. And the presentation will be made by Astrolee Amy, the building official.
Good, because I just heard something that said no stem walls, but I thought in all my meetings, we had stem walls.
Yes, for the coastal area, we have stem wall.
So what did we just say with no stem walls? Because I'll be voting no on that one then. That is not what was in my meetings.
That might be an error.
Anthony Mastraccio, Deputy Building Official. Chair Starkey. Yes, ma'am, that is an error. Initially, when the ordinance was developed, we did look at that, as we had discussed. And due to the construction costs, as, you know, when we did our research, it would just outweigh the benefits tremendously.
Right.
So that was removed, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we need to correct this language?
Yeah, that should be stricken from that area.
Okay. Yeah, that was in every single one of my meetings.
Chair Sally Sherman, Deputy County Administrator. What was read into the record is the title that was advertised. So.
A motion will have to be made to change that, to amend it.
Okay, we'll just amend it.
Well, that's what you advertised.
Yes.
So is the change more stringent or more liberal?
It has been removed.
That didn't answer my question.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Is it more stringent or more liberal?
More liberal.
Then the title in the motion, the title can be revised as long as this is not becoming more stringent.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I know, you
My
beat me,
blood went.
you beat me
My
to
blood
it.
went.
I know, you beat me to it, I was like, I think that's an error.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. So this afternoon, I'm here to present this amending Code of Ordinance, Chapter 18, Buildings and Building Regulations. And Pasco County Strategic Plan approved October 2021, Goal 1.1 states to promote and participate in the National Flood Insurance Program. Pasco County has been a member of the National Flood Insurance Program since November 18, 1981. And this allows residents of Pasco County to purchase federally backed flood insurance. And also, we are participating in the community rating system. And this allows our citizens to providing them discounts in their insurance premium. And right now, we are Class 6 rating. The lower, the better. So with that, it gives us opportunity to have 20% discount on all insurances for people in the special flood hazard areas. Next. So Pasco County flood zone map has been adopted by FEMA since June 2020. And the overview is that Pasco County is in Class 6 CRS rating and a 20% discount, and the number of policies that are held by Pasco citizens as of 2021 is 19,000 plus, with a total savings of $3.1 million. The proposed regulatory changes are 4 in number, and the first one is that appeals of actions taken or denial of proposed construction to be heard by a hearing officer using the same rules and procedures as demolition appeals. the second one is requiring non-conversion agreements for certain structures under elevated buildings. And this is just to ensure that enclosed area below elevated buildings and below base flood elevation is recorded publicly. That is to allow our citizens or prospective citizens to be able to, homeowners to know that that area is inhabitable. The third one is repealing local technical amendments that have been incorporated into the Florida Building Code. We just figured out that there is no need duplicating efforts. Once it's already in the Florida Building Code, we try to take it out of the Code of Ordinance. Then the fourth and the last one is updating the definition of substantial improvement. So staff is recommending approval of this and by roll call.
Excellent.
Any
thank you.
questions?
Well, I got mine answered. Commissioner Mariano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On page 6 of 11, it talks about minor grading and the placement of minor quantities of fill shall be permitted for landscaping and for drainage purposes under and around buildings and for support of parking, slabs, pool decks, patios, and walkways. But you've got that redlined out. Why is that redlined out?
Which one?
Page 6 of 11,
Yes.
number 4, starts with minor grading.
Basement.
Now,
Page
Minor
6 of
grading?
11. Starts with minor grading, it's redlined out.
because that's in the Florida Building Code now for minor grading, and also in the FEMA technical bulletin.
So, all right, so just like you said, we took it out because we don't need it.
Out, yes.
Okay. Next page over, page 7 of 11, it said, "The period of accumulation begins when the permit for the first improvement or repair of such each building is issued and extends for 1 year or until the permit is closed." So once the permit's ended, that accumulation time's over?
Yes.
Okay. Um, The next line, the next section right in that, number 1, you've got a red line in here. It's except when the damages are caused by willful intent or cumulative neglect by the owner or owners.
Yes.
Didn't they have different language of that with the state or the feds?
No, that was
That's
added
just-
by our county attorney.
Okay, so we talked about this, and this was going to be pulled out. Yeah, okay, so we've added a line in here, and try to imagine a permit technician.
Where are you, Jack?
Item number 1 on the next page, page 711. The term does not, however, include either, and it puts a red line in here of, except when the damages are caused by willful intent or cumulative neglect by owner or owners. And it's not in the feds or the state's other paperwork. We just added in by attorney's office? Is that what you're saying? Okay, so I want to get that stricken out. I don't want to change what the states and the Fed have done to make it any more cumbersome, because you could have a permit tech or whatever looking at this and just making a decision on their own what they think was willful intent or cumulative neglect.
This is after a violation. So
It's not.
if they're destroying their house and then asking for substantial improvement as like a loophole.
So I'm permit tech, Commissioner, permit tech.
You're adding this in, it's not in the state and fed, you told me. This is a separate line that we're adding in, correct?
Correct.
I don't want to add in any extra lines.
Okay, Barbara's approaching, and she worked a lot on this, so guys, I'm going to let her speak.
Barbara Wilhite again, 6327 Grand Boulevard. Sat in lots of, I think it's just an oversight, sat in a lot of meetings where that language was going to be removed.
That's what I thought.
I think it was removed from the other ordinance
Mhm.
and not from this one, so. There's email traffic with the county attorney's office, they were okay with it being removed, so I'm okay with it being removed, and
Okay, so if the structure has sustained substantial damage.
Was that added to prevent someone from damaging their own property or letting
Yeah,
something?
Yes.
What's the intent here?
That's why it was added.
Because if I go and damage my home, and now I'm allowed to do more than 50%. So it sounds like it should be in there.
Okay.
County
yeah, I
Attorney?
mean,
This was specifically added for the property in your district, Commissioner Mariano. But if you want it out, we'll take it out.
To me, I don't want, like I said, I don't want to make it any more different, any different than what the state of the federal regulations. Just because we're going to go throw a line in, I don't want to complicate the matter when it gets to staff.
But I agree with not being allowed to damage your own property and then make a runaround. So is there a different way to say it?
I got to think it's already in the statutes the way it's listed. And this is just going over the top, putting extra language in, which no other FEMA regulation that they know of has it, no state. So why do I want to be more intense on a line that could actually be very difficult, especially that cumulative neglect?
Because if you purposely neglect your property or you cause damage to your property, now you're allowed to do more than 49% of upgrades without having to wait.
Tell me how they're going to describe the other part of it. We'll go back to that one. Cumulative neglect, what does that mean? Just tell me that one there. Cumulative neglect, what does that mean?
Is it a time frame that you're neglecting your property?
And who's
Well,
going to
for
be
the
the
middle
judge of
zone-
that?
If you've let your roof disintegrate to a point where the structure is now, has to be totally rebuilt, that would be cumulative neglect.
I don't want to encourage that.
I don't want to encourage it either, but my point to everything that we're doing here is I want to match what the state and the feds needs to make sure we get the protections in for our citizens to get the best discounts they can and set ourselves up. But I don't want to go more intense what the state does. If nobody else has included that language in there, why are we including it in there? I don't see the necessary move for that.
Madam Chair?
Yep.
Mr. Steinschneider, I know you were involved, right, and helped work on this. What are your thoughts?
We added it to close a loophole because of enforcement cases that we've had to proceed on behalf of the county. That's why it's there.
Okay.
So this one, I'm inclined to support staff on this one because I don't want to encourage
Yeah.
Vandalism?
Slum and blight.
slum and blight. Yeah.
I agree.
I agree.
Let me have Barbara talk to it, because we talked about this extensively, if you want to talk, Barbara.
More?
Seriously. This is something that was supposed to be out.
Well, I frankly am glad it's in, so.
And if someone has a small leak in their home and they just let the leak get larger and larger and larger until it finally bursts and ruins your whole floor or your whole bedroom or your whole attic, or if you're on a second floor and you allow that little simple leak to get worse, and then now you have a tub falling through to the bottom floor. You don't want to allow.
Well, what I see is we would have dilapidated properties around the county that when they come in now to rebuild, they're going to get around, they're going to be allowed to get around the intent. And I have a neighbor across the street. There's a gentleman who has 2 houses in Gulf Harbor he's letting fall apart. So, Barbara?
Barbara Wilhite, I'm not sure I have a lot to add to it other than what you guys have discussed, which is it does go beyond what's required in the FEMA model ordinance. It does give some unbridled discretion, just the way it's written. It could be misinterpreted or misapplied. You just got to be careful when you delegate, to staff, and that's what these ordinances do. And so, that's some of the concern, but you've got a very fine county attorney there, and it does go beyond the ordinance. It was discussed being taken out. I think it's out of the other ordinance you just passed, so I think now we have 2 different ordinances unless we can go back to, I need to go back and look at, because we're in the Chapter 18 ordinance now, yeah. So I think it's already out of the other one, so that might be helpful to go look at what we just adopted and just be consistent.
So in reading the language, it seems pretty specific to me. It says the period of accumulation begins when the permit for the first improvement or repair of each building is issued and extended for 1 year or until the permit is closed. Is that?
Yeah, it's the next line down we're looking at.
Yeah.
And again, when you can have someone decide what willful intent is, or a cumulative neglect, I mean, you could have somebody who was away for 6 months, whatever, you want to go by those examples, a leak happens, they don't know about it, it accumulates, it gets there. Is it willful that they weren't there? and now you're gonna get a staff person make that decision? And again, the difference with this is, again, it's out of the other ordinance, that was pulled out, this is added in here, and it doesn't have to be in there. And I don't wanna give any more flexibility to staff unless it's dictated by law at this point. So I wanted to have less control from the staff person than to what's in all the other state and federal ordinances that have been adopted.
Well, we don't have any, if you want us to take it out, we'll take it out.
Well, it's a public hearing. We can take public comment, and then it's back to the board. Did you want her to say something, Sally?
Yeah, and it's still in the,
It's still in the first one?
yes.
Okay. All right, it's a public hearing. Does anyone wish to address the board on this item?
Madam Chair, we have no one pre-signed or online for this item.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
Page 9 of 11. Says the interior portion of such enclosed area shall not be partitioned or finished into separate rooms except for stairwells, ramps, elevators, unless a partition is required by fire code. Is that it elsewhere, or is that just something we've added in?
Page 9.
So this was part of the non-conversion agreement.
And it's in the Florida Building Code as well.
So in the code, we're not doing anything extra.
Okay, but I did ask if you're quoting something that's in the Florida Building Code to put the number there.
It's there. It's R322.3.6.
Yeah? I'm in the strike-through. I don't see the citation to the Florida Building Code.
It's there, Madam Chair.
You have
So,
it?
so that code now
Well, that's
includes
ours.
the black and the
ours.
red part.
That's not the Florida
Esther?
Building Code.
So now that line right there includes the
Say
black and the red
this.
is what the Florida Building Code says? Or did you add on the red line? On the line, R322.3.6, enclosed areas, the black part that you have printed and the red part, are both of those part of what the Florida Building Code is?
No, the ones in black is in the Florida Building Code R323.6. The one that we've added is in red and it's underlined, and it's in the non-conversion agreement.
It's a part of the non-conversion agreement.
Is this the Florida Building Code number?
All right, so what's your definition of finished?
But doesn't it have to say FS or something?
No.
Definition of finish?
It could be concrete floor, carpeted
And so that's what that
tile,
is too?
anything that is done that is.
So you wouldn't let someone put some tile on the bottom floor?
Yes.
You wouldn't?
No, we will. It's okay.
You will?
Everything, yes, yeah.
It says, in section R3, isn't this our land development?
The point is for
Not the Florida
turning
Building
that
Code?
bottom space into a habitable space when it's not supposed to be habitable.
No, I mean, it'd be habitable, it could be usable. If someone wanted to have a pool room, if someone wanted to have a ping pong tables in there and couches, chairs.
You can't turn it into a bedroom, is what we're trying to.
And bedroom's okay, but I just don't see this.
Yes, that's what that means.
'Cause
Storage, car parks, that's still usable, but
Mhm.
it's not habitable.
Okay.
I have a
Okay, so
question.
it's back to us.
I have a question,
Okay?
Madam Chair. How does this affect property owners' values of their homes that if they've already do have a habitable bottom floor, or do they not?
It's for, yeah, it's for new construction.
For the new one.
Okay.
It's not,
And it doesn't affect when someone resells their home?
no, it does not.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I think there was consensus that we wanted to keep that one, the language in for the loophole about,
Page 8.
And then we got to strike prohibiting stem wall foundations.
but
in
we
coastal zones.
do need
So-
an amendment to
Title.
change the title.
No, so I have reviewed the document before you and the final document that was provided to the clerk's office has that removed.
Correct.
The advertising and what was posted on your agenda apparently went from an earlier version where it was being prohibited, and then so it's come out. So as long as the ordinance that you're adopting, prohibiting stem wall construction would be more stringent. So you're based on facts and circumstances and testimony, you are liberalizing the ordinance. So your advertising is still good, and the ordinance before you can be adopted the way it's been proposed to you.
Move for approval.
Second.
Okay, under discussion, I want to say, if we do find that there's issues,
Thank
we
you,
can,
Mr. Dyson.
we can fix it.
I think it's
Okay.
an issue with that line alone.
Yeah, I know I'm on the fence, but I err in closing the loophole. Okay, all in favor?
Roll call.
Aye.
Roll
Oh, roll call, sorry. Okay.
Commissioner 1, or District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Nay.
District 3, Chairman Starkey.
Aye. Okay, I know that was a lot of work for you guys.
Thank you, Chair.
P67.
We have proof of publication of the hearing of this matter in the July 6th, 2022 edition of the Tampa Bay Times.
Item P67 is PDD 220364. It is an ordinance amending the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan, providing for a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment to the future land use map, map 2-15 and sheet 18, from Res 9 residential 9 dwelling units per gross acre to Res 24 residential 24 dwelling units per gross acre on approximately 2.81 acres of real property located on the west side of Wood Trail Boulevard and north of Old County Road 54, and providing for additional text amendments as necessary for internal consistency, providing for repeal or severability and an effective date. And this comes to you with a recommendation of approval and to adopt the ordinance by roll call vote.
Okay. Board members, any questions on this one? All right, is the applicant here?
In the back.
Is there a presentation on this?
The applicant's raising their hands in the back, Madam Chair.
Did they want to speak?
That for the recording.
All right, this is a public hearing. Does anyone wish to speak on,
Madam Chair?
yeah?
Staff's not presenting on this?
I don't,
You're not presenting this?
We
that was
can,
it?
if you want us to present it.
Okay, did I miss something? I was taking care of something.
No.
I think
I have no information
several
on
board members want a presentation.
Okay,
Is what the-
let's go.
We can do a presentation. Okay.
Maybe a motion to continue?
No.
Because I have no knowledge.
This is a logistical question here.
No.
Good afternoon. Doreen Roy, Planning and Development. Item P67, PDD 220364. The property is located in the West Market area, urban concentration area. The proposal is to amend the future land use, flu maps 2-15 and sheet 18 from Res 9 to Res 24. It is located on the west side of Wood Trail Boulevard and north of Old County Road 54. The resolution, amend future land use maps 2-15 and sheet 18 from Res 9, residential 9 dwelling units per gross acre, and Res 24, residential 24 dwelling acres per gross acre. The following policies are consistent with the proposed comprehensive plan. Policy Flu 8.1.1, West Market Area Establishment. Policy Flu 1.4.3, Transitional Land Uses. And Policy Flu 9.1.7, Urban Service Area. Aerial of the location on the west side of Wood Trail Boulevard and north of Old County Road 54. The existing future land use is Res 9. The proposed future land use is Res 24. The existing zoning districts, multifamily to multiple family, high-density district. And staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners find the proposed amendment consistent with the comprehensive plan and adopt by roll call vote.
Okay. Here's the applicant's attorney.
Good afternoon again. Barbara Wilhite, 6327 Grand Boulevard, for the applicant. The purpose of the amendment from Res 9 to Res 24 is to be able to increase by 29 units. Currently, the current land use designation of the property allows 38 units, and we are proposing to go to 67 units. So it's a 29-unit increase. The rezoning currently is MF2, and we have a pending rezoning that will come to you, I think, October 11th, to MF3. It's a very unique site. It's, I haven't seen very many infill projects. I remember when I spoke to the client the first time, he called me and I said, well, how many wetlands were on site? And he said, what? And I said, what? And he said, I develop in cities. I develop in LA. We don't have wetlands. So to have a developer who has a vision for a property in an area that without infill investment will continue to blight. There is existing commercial strips to the north, a couple of them, a really good Mexican restaurant to the north, in Carmelitas.
Oh, yeah.
But in this kind of investment will change the area. Undercapacity schools, 54, that section of Old 54 is still an arterial roadway. Really interesting is our bus stops. We have a bus stop to the east on Little Road. There's what's called a future express bus service and super stop location is planned in the vicinity of 54 and Little, which is within a walking or biking distance to the south. So that's kind of unique. It's within your Spring District, the Harbors West Market Redevelopment and Infill Plan District. And I can answer any questions. We have, there's a notice on the property. Letters have gone out to neighbors. My client has worked with the condo association that is tucked up to the north of this piece of property, and we'd ask for your support. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak to this item?
We have no one signed up nor online for this item.
Madam Chair?
Yep.
Barb, if I could ask you a question? It was probably a few months ago we looked at this. We talked about a few different accesses or whatever. Do you have a site plan of any sort?
We don't have one with us today because we're at land use. We will be back for rezoning on the 11th and can certainly bring a presentation regarding the specifics at that time.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, then if there's no further questions, Jax, is this your district or Christina, this is yours?
It's mine.
Guess we can,
It's
Madam Chair.
a unique piece of land there.
Yeah, I guess we can assume what it's gonna be, but I can't make that assumption at this time. But I would assume, I won't make an assumption, but we don't wanna go to Res 24. Yeah, but we'll wait for the next hearing.
Okay, so
Public comment?
I took public comment and there was nobody.
Right here.
So I just need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
She made a
When
motion.
will we have additional information?
Oh, he can't hear.
When will we have the additional information on the site plan?
So I think Ms. Wilhite said that even though it is a Euclidean straight zoning that she's coming back with, that they would be willing to discuss a site plan at that hearing for zoning.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, it is a roll call vote.
District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 3, Chairman Starkey.
Aye. Okay, P68.
We have proof of publication of the hearing at this time in the July 6, 2022 edition of the Tampa Bay Times.
Item P68 is PDD 220454. It's an ordinance by the Pasco County Board of County Commissioners amending the Pasco County Land Development Code, Chapter 1100, Special Development Standards, Section 1101, Vehicle Dealerships, and other sections as necessary for internal consistency, providing for applicability, repealer, providing for severability, inclusion into the Land Development Code, and an effective date. This is the first presentation to accept public comment, accept public comment, adopt the proposed ordinance by roll call vote, and authorize the chairman to execute the ordinance amendment. This would be the second reading. Apologize.
It is the second.
Yes, the adoption hearing.
Board members, do you need a full presentation?
Nope.
Or we've heard it before?
Heard it before.
And we got this done before it expired, so I'm very grateful. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak to this ordinance? Okay, so I want to thank staff and all our dealerships that were involved in this. We had great representation from Furman, from Larry Morgan, Scott Fink, Rich Beckish, and others. Clark Hobby was involved. We had some used car dealerships involved in the discussion, and I think this will go a long way to helping clean up some of that blight and make sure that we have a fair process going forward. Commissioner Mariano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I want to congratulate you on doing a great job with this. This was a tough issue. It dealt with the used car dealerships where we had the most trouble with, but at the same time, then you improved everything else with it. So great job with it. I'll move approval.
Thank you very much.
Second.
All right, so is it a roll call as well?
It is.
Okay.
District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 3, Chairman Starkey.
A happy aye. Glad that's done. Okay, we are now going to go to the addendum. It's AP 149.
Madam Chairman, in this particular matter, there was a discrepancy in the advertisement that appeared in the Tampa Bay Times on August the 10th, where the day was shown as Tuesday, August the 24th, today's date. As a result, staff, in consultation with the county attorney's office, posted the door yesterday, the Tuesday, in order to provide information that it would be heard at this time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Item AP 149 is PDD 220528. It's an ordinance amending Pasco County Ordinance Number 18-26, expanding the boundaries of the Epperson North Community Development District pursuant to Chapter 190 of Florida statutes, providing for miscellaneous provisions, providing for an effective date. And this is, comes with a recommendation to approve and adopt the ordinance by roll call vote.
Is that it? Okay.
Comment.
Public comment.
Do we need a presentation by anyone else, guys?
No. Madam Chair?
Yep.
No, I would say on this item and the next item, no, I don't think we all know what a CDD is.
Okay.
And with that they're expanding their boundaries,
So-
it's not rocket science.
Terry, you may want to explain how 149 and 150 are linked, if you know. So, then I'll do it. 149 and 150 are linked because one of them is expanding the boundaries and the other one is contracting the boundaries. You will end up with basically swapping land into a different CDD designation, but the land is all going to stay in the same CDD. And I'll look at Mr. Lawson to make sure that I'm saying that right. Thank you. And so that's how all they're doing is taking it out of one CDD they're in control of, and putting it in a second CDD, they're in control of for their,
Okay,
there it is.
so then, is there anyone signed up to speak to this?
Yes, ma'am, we have Dana Crosby Collier.
Okay. Is there anyone online that wishes to speak to this item?
Not to this item, no, ma'am.
Okay, then, I will.
Move for approval.
Second.
All right, it is a roll call vote.
District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 3, Chairman Starkey.
Aye. 150, AP 150.
Again, as was noted on the previous item, the same discrepancy as to the day and date, and it was posted on the door of the commission chambers for hearing at this time. It was published in the August 10th, 2022 edition of the Tampa Bay Times.
Terry?
Item AP 150 is an ordinance amending Pasco County Ordinance Number 18-01 as amended, contracting the boundaries of the Epperson Ranch 2 Community Development District pursuant to Chapter 190 Florida statutes, providing for miscellaneous provisions, providing for an effective date, and this comes with the recommendation of approval and adopt the ordinance by roll call vote.
Okay, I'm going to assume there's no one signed up to speak to this either,
The only one signed up is the representative.
okay? To the board?
Anybody else out there?
Approval.
Okay.
She didn't hear you.
Do I have a
Move
second?
approval.
Oh, there she is. Second.
Roll call vote?
District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 3, Chairman Starkey.
Aye. Thank you very much. We are now on to public hearings. The CAO will read the procedures, including explanation of flow. That's what it says here. I'm reading right off my
Okay.
script. So
There are 2 rezoning agendas, regular and consent. Staff will present each application to the Board of County Commissioners. If staff or Planning Commission has recommended approval and there's no opposition, the application will be considered by the board without further presentation. If staff or Planning Commission has recommended denial, or if there is opposition to the application, the applicant will be given 5 minutes for presentation. The opposition will be given 3 minutes for each individual or 5 minutes for a group representative, and the applicant will be given 3 minutes for rebuttal. Any individual disagreeing with staff or Planning Commission recommendation, or anyone wishing to object to any condition of the rezoning may at this time request the petition be pulled from the consent agenda, in which case that application will be heard under the regular agenda later on during the meeting. Otherwise, all rezoning applications on the consent agenda will be approved by a single motion and vote. If you wish to speak to any petition, please give your name and address and whether or not you've been sworn for the record. These are quasi-judicial public hearings. The law in Florida is that mere public support or opposition of an application is insufficient for this board to take action. Please limit your comments to those criteria found within the board's land development code.
Okay, you swear them in?
Any member of the audience that is wishing to speak to the items to be heard on the zoning agenda, if you would please rise at this time. If you please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that any testimony you should give in these matters will be the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Please, when you come forward, just mention that you have been sworn.
Okay. Terry, begin.
Item P69 is a zoning amendment by the name of Denton Place MPUD Master Plan Unit Development by DCH Timber LLC. It's a rezoning request from an AC Agricultural Zoning District to an MPUD Master Plan Unit Development District to allow for the development of a maximum of 804 residential dwelling units and associated infrastructure on approximately 306.7 acres. The recommendation is to continue the item to the September 6, 2022 BCC hearing in Dade City.
Motion to continue.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Approve.
Approve.
Read the proof.
Is it proof it was advertised?
This particular notice is provided was for the September 6th meeting, according to my notes.
Madam Chair? Where's that meeting?
In Dade City.
September 6th.
Why would I do that? That needs to be in New Port Richey.
This was on consent.
Okay, do you want to
No, we
continue
did-
it and bring it back over
Was
here?
not on consent? Oh, no.
I want to hear it over here.
Don't want consent.
Motion to continue to a date time certain to second meeting in September.
Have a consent,
You-
do we consent?
You might as well continue, if it's already been advertised for the 6th, you might as well continue it to over there, because you're gonna have to
Continue it
do
again.
something with it on your 6th agenda anyway.
Okay.
All right, so we'll leave it, and we'll
Leave it
continue.
as
I
such.
mean, you can
Okay.
tell staff that you don't want it heard over there, and then they can do a continuance memo for that agenda if that's the desire, but you're gonna have to take action on the 6th anyway if a newspaper ad has already gone out.
So do I make that,
Hopefully.
just tell Steph then, or are we pretty much telling them now so they know?
If,
We will provide you with a continuance memo at the Dade City meeting on September 6th.
Thank you.
Okay. P70.
We vote?
you need to, yeah, you need to
We
vote
didn't
on.
finish?
Vote
All
on
in favor? Aye. Opposed? P70.
P70 was continued from the August 9th Board of County Commissioners meeting to today, at which time proof was provided.
Item P70 is PDD 227614. It's a zoning amendment by the name of 54 Crossings MPUD Master Plan Unit Development by Colwell Avenue Properties 4 LLC. A substantial modification request to add an additional allowed use of a technical trade nursing school utilizing a maximum of 76,447 square feet of existing office entitlements on approximately 22.16 acres. This is coming with a recommendation to continue to the September 6, 2022 BCC hearing in Dade City at 1:30 PM.
Okay, this says District 4.
Yes, I'll do a motion to continue, but I'm gonna, on that next date, motion to continue it back to Newport Richey.
I can't imagine anyone coming to object to this. If we want to get it done, I'd be okay on this one to get it done in Dade City. I don't know what the rest of you think,
Well,
but
I think the citizens on this side of this county should be able to have a input and not have to drive to Dade City.
yeah, I just don't think, well, maybe I'm assuming.
Is there a date that it's requested to be
It's just
continued
to allow nursing, nursing school.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I agree with you, Madam Chair. I mean, I understand when we have a contentious item, that's why we want to make sure it's on the side, but this is
An issue.
this is a school, trade school.
Do they have a date that they would like it continued to?
I believe they have they're actually part of a funding agreement with the county, so that the property is involved with OEG. So this is kind of there's an economic development dimension associated with it.
Time of the essence of this.
Yeah.
Okay, so motion to continue to date uncertain.
And then it's got to be re-advertised.
No, I think I've heard from two, me and Commissioner Moore. Is there anyone else who's okay to hear it in Dade City?
I'm okay.
I'm okay, I haven't heard anything
All right, so we have-
negative to this one.
All right, so how about, Commissioner, let's just do as staff recommends. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, you want to make the motion?
But they didn't recommend a date.
Yeah.
No, they did. They said
It's
the 7th.
Continuance request to September 6th
6th.
Okay.
at 1:30 or
Motion to
soon
continue to
thereafter.
date certain, time certain.
Second.
That work? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. P71.
This item 2 was continued from the August 9th, 2022 Board of County Commissioners meeting to today, at which time proof was provided.
Item P71 is PDD 227563. It's a zoning amendment by the name of Palmetto Ridge MPUD Master Plan Unit Development, Palmetto Ridge Cattle by Palmetto Ridge Cattle Company LLC. It's a rezoning request from an MPUD Master Plan Unit Development District to an MPUD Master Plan Unit Development District to change the name of the MPUD and to allow the development of a maximum of 2,500 residential units, detached and attached, 50,000 square feet of commercial uses, a 49.24 plus or minus acre potential school site, a 5.03 plus or minus acre potential public safety site, and 2,000 plus or minus acres of open space recreation on approximately 3,000 535.79 acres. This comes with a recommendation to approve with conditions. And also, I believe there's someone signed up to speak to the item, so
Oh, they did? Someone signed up, so we'll have to take it off the consent?
Well, Rob Park, is that an applicant?
Is Rob Park?
No, that's not an applicant, but that's a WebEx list, is it
Yes,
not? Is
that's a
there-
WebEx
is-
listing.
Is he online? Then pull it off consent.
Okay. All right, P72.
P72, we have publication of this matter in the July 6, 2022 edition of the Tampa Bay Times.
One second, I'm sorry. There was a Rob Park here, and then it says he left the call. Did he think he's not going to be able to speak? Is he still online?
Yes,
Oh, okay, just.
and Mr.
I gotta-
Park is also listed in this, on this item, for the list I have.
Okay,
aye.
okay. So then we'll have to pull that one off the consent.
Want me to read it?
Yep, go ahead. That's the end of the consent,
No,
huh?
it isn't. You've got.
Well, mine it
you've
is.
got
Oh, no,
73.
P73.
P72 is a zoning amendment by the name of Pasco Town Center MPUD Master Plan Unit Development by PTC Boyette LLC. It's a rezoning request from an AC Agricultural and C2 General Commercial Zoning Districts to an MPUD Master Plan Unit Development District to allow the development of 4 million square feet of industrial support, 725,000 square feet of office, 400,000 square feet of retail, 300 hotel rooms, and 3,500 residential dwelling units on approximately 966.87 acres. This comes with a recommendation of approval with conditions. And there's a speaker.
Okay, since we have someone here to speak, we will pull that off the consent. We have one more consent item, P73.
We have,
Winding Brook Trail.
Mr. Steinsnyder,
Yes.
are you familiar with this particular note?
No. So it says that you didn't advertise it, basically.
The it's called Public Works, and the association had agreed to waive the usual notice requirements. It's an agreement between the association and the county, and they agreed to waive the notice requirements.
And refresh my recollection on this one, they were gonna pay the assessments, and so none of the liens would attach to any property except for theirs.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, that's
we're okay?
that's why, is because the only property owner subject to this lien
Is the HOA?
said that they'd waive notice.
Okay, then you can proceed.
It's called Public Works, and this is just reading it into the records. This is a Winding Brook Trail resolution and agreement, PVAS number 3509, and it's an agreement between Westbrook Estate Homeowners Association and Pasco County for the repaving of a section of Winding Brook Trail from Gateway Boulevard east and north to the cul-de-sac. The project estimated cost is $42,600. Staff is recommending approval.
Is there anyone here in opposition to this? Take a motion.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we're back to P71. And then you'll have to come back, Ainsley. Sorry.
Sorry.
Good afternoon, everybody. Tammy Snyder, Planning and Development.
Madam Chair, do you mind? Just a question, I guess, go to Mr. Steinsnyder. So there was, as far as I'm concerned, there was no, my recollection, there was no opposition at Planning Commission on P72 or P73?
Correct.
I personally do not need a presentation,
71 or 72?
71 or 72.
It would be up to the board. If the
Yeah, I
board
don't
just
think, I
wants to
mean, we
move
all
into
know,
public-
we all met with,
public
I would
comment.
assume we all met with staff in the past on this item. I don't know why we need to go through it again. We can let the citizen speak their objections if they have one, and then ask questions in reference to his objections.
That works for me.
If it's a board, yeah.
Okay,
The
so
person signed up, Mr. Rob Park.
do we have to read it into the record?
He already did.
Already did.
You got P71 all done? Okay. So, Mr. Park, if you'd like to address the board?
Okay, yes, my name is Rob Park, 9614 Aaron Cutoff Road, Land O'Lakes, Florida, 34639. Have been sworn. Item 71, Palmetto Ridge Community. Thank you for hearing me. Please know I will get off topic with a few of my points. I know you are aware of the issues, but the gist is the wording for the future planning must be addressed now. In the late 70s, when I first started coming out to Pasco County, the county had an existing road network to accommodate the zoning in place at the time. The roads were added to accommodate the build-out of existing zoning. Today, in many areas, the zoning has changed, but not the road network.
Mr. Park, if
Some
you
of the
could
roads-
please, Mr. Park, if you could move closer to your microphone because you're breaking up as you back away from it.
Okay.
You're
That
fine
any
when
better?
you stay up close, it's just when you back away from it. Thank you.
No worries. So today, in many areas, the zoning has changed, but not the road network. Some of the roads are now bigger. Of course, bigger is better. Having a 14-lane intersection for the through road, that's better. Stopped 3-lane left turn through vehicles passing within 2 feet at 55 miles an hour, and your car shudders from the wake of the air, that's better. So I would like you to consider putting wording in this consent that will address State Road 52 having a wide split between the east and westbound lanes. The split would be about 1,500 feet or so wide, and any of the applicant's commercial parcels planned along State Road 52 would be between the east and westbound lanes. There would be long sweeping turns. I did send a PDF for that between the east and westbound lanes and eliminate traffic lights. No traffic lights on State Road 52. Speeds can be reduced and travel time shortened. You don't need 6 cars coming out of the community at an intersection and stopping 60 cars. If you don't act now, then history will repeat itself. Congestion at intersections, just like we have now. I urge you not to pass the consent until additional wording is in place. I would also like to see wording that addresses traffic generated by the development, staying on arterial roads, because there is a huge problem in this area where vehicular traffic is using collector roads as arterial roads. And you can see my little cut paste. It's tough, but it's different than what we're doing now.
I'm trying to understand the picture in front of me, but I wanted to make sure you're aware that 52 is being widened.
Moved it up about 2 years.
Yeah, they moved it up, and there is one last section. What, Commissioner Oakley, which is the section that will be last?
Well, that'd be from 41 to Aaron Cutoff, and then Aaron Cutoff to the Bellamy.
Yeah, but it is going to be
They're
widened.
going to do it in 2 sections, so.
Well, that's what I'm showing you. Instead of widening, your eastbound lanes are to the south and your westbound lane to the
Yeah, so that ship has sailed there. That's a state project, and they're buying the right-of-way, and I think that's pretty much,
That's pretty well
that route's
engineered.
pretty well established.
That's a FDOT project.
another 54 and 56. That's what I'm pointing out. Somehow that has to change.
I am so sorry, but you are cutting in and out. I don't know why. But you know what, if you want to come in and meet with me sometime, I'd love to hear your ideas.
Okay, great. Thank you for that.
Okay. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak to the board on this issue? Is there anyone else online?
No, not for this item.
I'll take a motion on P71.
Madam Chair, can I ask a question of staff?
Yep.
52, is the right-of-way going to be needed here? Or do we already have it?
DOT.
So that would be a
DOT's
DOT,
done that.
and I pulled up their work program on proposed improvements for State Road 52 just now. I'll just read you an excerpt. From Shady Hills Road to I-75, the rural typical section will provide a 46-foot median separating 3 12-foot lanes for each direction of travel. They obviously would, once they go through their design, they would have right-of-way acquisition that goes through their process, but FDOT would be best poised to answer that question. I don't have that information here.
Okay. I mean, this wouldn't be a development that we'd actually look to get that ahead of time.
You know, and
I got a
and
question.
he might be directed to come to an MPO meeting where FDOT is there and where we discuss these things. Commissioner Oakley?
I have a question. It's on P72.
We're not there yet.
I thought you were talking about both.
We're on P71.
Okay. So no question on P71.
Okay, but I will take a motion.
Madam Chair, can we give the applicant a chance to rebut? Just since there was public comment,
Sure.
the applicant should have a chance to rebut if they want to.
Does the applicant wish to rebut?
Mr. Two has indicated he's not going to rebut.
Okay.
Joel to an Associates, I represent the applicant, which also is the property owner, and no, we have no rebuttal since it's a DOT project. It's driven entirely by their design, their requirements, and yes, it's in the work program and budget funds allocated.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
Okay. Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, and if Mr. Park comes back on for P72, I'm going to suggest he come to an MPO meeting where FDOT is there and he can ask his questions.
Is Mr. Park still on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, oh, good. All right, we'll get, if you can go online to the Pasco County site and see when the MPO meeting meets. I don't know when it is exactly right now.
Until October, I don't think, Madam
It'll
Chair.
be over here in Newport Richey because we just met in Dade City. FDOT's there and you can ask any questions. That's a good way to find your answers.
Well,
Okay.
yes, ma'am. The reason that I'm bringing it to you is because if you don't put it in the wording now, then if FDOT says, well, yeah, that's a great idea, we'll do that, then they'll say, no, you're not. I already have it approved that you can't do that. That's all they're just trying to get wording in.
Well, we don't control the state development, so
It's their engineering.
it's their program, not ours. So.
Madam Chairman,
Yep.
if Mr. Park has comments on this
Yeah, we'll do
item,
it.
you need to take it.
Right. On P72, yes.
Yes.
Do we have to read it into the record? We already
You
kind
already
of
did.
did? Okay, so
Public comment.
is there anyone here who wishes to speak to P72?
We have no one signed up in the room. Mr. Park, do you have any other further comments?
Same story. Now I have to unmute. Hold on.
You're
All right, same
unmuted.
story, different verse. When the I-75 interchange at that development, they need to split it. You know, if the westbound lanes were behind the pilot truck stop. If you all don't put that in the wording, that never happens.
Well, that's going to be a separate project. That's going to be a big development back there. Yeah, I think that
The
road
location's
is also
talking about.
done already. Right?
Very well.
Okay.
Mr. Two.
Mr. Two, the applicant, is coming to the microphone.
Joel to an Associates again, and I have been sworn. I was remiss last time. Sorry. Also represent the applicant who's the property owner of Pasco Town Center. Again, State Road 52 and I-75, of course, are FDOT-controlled facilities. That interchange has already been constructed. We have to comply with the FDOT, design requirements. But with that said, the applicant, Mr. Biles, previously Mr. Carballa, now, and your transportation department have been very active in working with DOT to come up with the access points east of the interchange so that it can facilitate not only Pasco Town Center, but also Flying J, and also the new project north of 52 that you referred to. So everyone is collaborating. They formed basically a task force to try to get DOT to approve a better way of access on and off from 52 east of that interchange.
And is that resolved?
We think it's very close to being resolved, and the good news is thanks to the input from your county administration and all the different stakeholders, it seems to be headed in what all the parties think is the right direction at DOT.
Great. Okay.
So it's, again, it's out of our control other than we're trying to get it done, you know, the best way for the county and the projects.
Well,
Mr. Oakley.
Mr. Toots here, I need clarification because it came to my attention that somehow in that project of Pasco Town Center, they were changing the name of McKendree Road to Boyette. I can't tell you how many calls and how many emails I got from McKendree families that didn't want that name
Yeah,
changed.
let's confirm that again. That came up at Planning Commission, as you know, and we confirmed that there. Pasco Town Center was not trying to rename McKendree. The problem is it's on the county's long-range transportation plan that McKendree will become Boyette. But we received an edict from the county administrator's office that will continue to be McKendree Road. So we stated that on the record. Obviously, we're going to call it what the county tells us to call it, and we've been told to call it McKendree. We love McKendree. We're going to call it McKendree.
Well, that makes my citizens very
Well,
happy.
it keeps all those people from having to change their address, obviously, mostly on the southern end of the project, south of us.
Right.
But yes, sir, it will be McKendree, and we've asked our engineers and planners to please label it McKendree on everything so people don't get upset.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's no more comment, it's to the board on this
Move
wonderful
approval.
project. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, that's a big one. P74. Look at, we're clearing out the room.
Inns Caldwell
We're
Public
gonna
Works.
Celebrate.
We have proof of publication of the hearing of this matter in the July 20th edition of the Tampa Bay Times.
This is a Seagull Drive PVAS project number 3471. Yeah, Seagull PVAS project number 3471. There are 5 streets county maintained and paved. The total estimated project cost is approximately $540,950. The maximum cost for ERU is $4,425.49. The discounted amount is $104,982.81. Maximum cost after the discount is $3,569.11. In terms of the votes, there were 127 possible votes. 66 responded, which is 52%, and of that number, 49 or 74% were in favor of the project, 17 or 26% were against the project. The repayment is over a 10-year period at an interest rate of 3.25% interest. Next, please. This is a location map. Next. An example of the road conditions. Staff is recommending approve.
Okay. Whose district is this in?
My district.
All right, is there anyone here in opposition of this P74? I'm going to try it that way.
You have to let anybody
Well,
who
everyone
wants
can
to speak. Yes.
Okay, I think we have someone coming. Do you have to read the advertisement on this?
No.
Oh, is he coming up?
I believe this gentleman may be for the next item.
Okay, so there's no one here on P74? Okay, to the
Online?
board?
Online? Phone?
Anyone online?
Not for this item.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
On P75, we have proof of publication of the hearing of this matter in the July 20th, 2022 edition of the Tampa Bay Times.
Is the Caldwell Public Works. This is the Johnston Road paving assessment project number 3497. There's 1 street county maintained and paved. The total estimated project cost is $357,283. the total estimated project cost to be assessed for the project, and this is because this is a cut-through road, the amount to be assessed was $164,640. The maximum cost per ERU is $1,963.04. The discounted amount is $10,840.88, and the maximum cost per ERU after the discount is $1,722.28. Next. There were possible 195 votes. We got 90, which is equal to 46%, which responded. Of that number, 45 were in favor, and 45 were against, 50% and 50%. The annual installment is over a 10-year period. The interest rate is 3.25% interest. This is a location map, Johnson Road between US 19 and Zimmerman. Next. And this is an example of the condition of the road.
Ooh. Is this the first time this one's come to us?
No.
It seems I've seen this road before.
This came before, we were going to take a look at doing a sidewalk project and everything else, but we're just sticking with the road project at this point.
Yeah. It's not much of a road left.
No, it's terrible.
Okay. All right, is there anyone here who wishes to speak to this item? Do we have anyone signed up on this one?
Mr. Roger Hatfield?
And then we'll have Mr. McCoy. Good afternoon. Name and address, please.
Roger Hatfield, 7139 James Street. I have a few properties on James Street. I have one that touches Johnson. Out of those, I've had these many, many years, 25 years. I've paid the taxes on time, so forth. We use 200 feet. Anybody on James, which is where the map was.
Yeah, why don't you put the map back up for
Right
us?
off of 19. As soon as you turn off of 19, the first right there, that's the James. It's a small dead-end road. We use 200 feet of that. Johnson has been that way for over the 25 years that I've lived there. Same way. It looks exactly the same as it did 25 years ago. Kind of feel like we're being penalized a little bit for owning land at this point. It was considered a cut-through now. School buses use it to go from 19 to Zimmerman. I don't feel that we originally, when we brought this up, we had talked about being assessed for just the sidewalks and streetlights. And you were going to probably put it into another project to have the county pay for the road, and we be assessed just for sidewalks and streetlights.
Well, you say you have 200 feet, but if someone's coming in from the right-hand side, they have the whole road to get to your
You
street.
don't have to get to James.
But you can.
I don't use it because of the condition the road's been in 25 years.
Right.
So I'm not used to using it.
Right.
But, but we're still being assessed for the whole road when we really only need 200 feet to get in.
Ainsley? What, is their assessment 100%?
I don't have the percentage, but assessment is not based on the frontage. It's based on the zoning and the size of the parcel. So it's not based on the 200 feet frontage, but it's on the size of the parcel.
So here it says 25%.
Exactly.
It's not 100%.
It's the one immediately
it's
on the first
25%.
corner. Yeah, it's a 25, sorry, 50%. 25% is green, 50%
Yeah,
is blue.
well, he's James Street, so he's 25%. So that's
25%.
pretty fair. So were you the no votes?
Yes.
So that's stack in your hand?
Yes, it is.
And how many properties do you have there?
I have 7.
7, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else here?
Karen Garden?
Okay.
That's the last person we have signed up at this time.
Does someone else, if you want to speak to this, please line up. Okay.
Please bear with me.
You can pull that mic down and then name and address for the record, please.
Okay, my name is Karen Garton, and I live at 11334.
It's bent, yeah. There you go.
There you go.
Leisure Lane, Port Richey, 34668. I've lived in this area for 35 years. Johnson Road had not been dealt with as an entirety in that time. We have had patchwork done over and over again, and where I'm at in the neighborhood, I'm known for the 50 Shades of Gray. For 6 years straight, I did a video of the same road, and it had the same problem. Same holes, just a little bit bigger. At some point, one of the holes was actually 6 inches deep. Now, the main problem that we saw was drainage. That part of 19 that starts at Johnson is, I guess it goes A, B, and C for the flood zoning. That's A to the left, right on 19. As soon as you start that part of Johnson, all the way down, it's B.
That's a change.
And it floods. If any person just stands on any corner, you can see the different rakes in the road, which we do want our road fixed. We really do.
Well, I'm going to be voting for it to get fixed.
Well, the problem we have is you're putting the cart before the horse. The drainage issue does need to be taken care of, and I did meet with them in regards to what their plan is for swales and such on the sides of the roads. We've had that, and it didn't work. So to do the same thing, just so in 4 or 5 years, oh, well, you really do need a pipe and an outlet. Well, you're tearing up a road you just charged us $165,000 for. That most of the residents are still going to be paying for another 5 to 10 years. Okay. Well, there is a property in the middle when you go from 19 to Rampart that is owned by you guys. Picked it up for taxes. It's a double lot and can facilitate a retention pond where if they still use some sort of maneuvering, can channel at least the water from 19 and Rampart to there. Now, the rake in the property or the pitch is not going to change on the street. So from Rampart to Zimmerman, it's a big decline. And there is a spot at the corner of Johnson and Scallop that is pretty deteriorated and because the water puddles. Now, I know you did the project where you tore the house down on Scallop and cleaned out the pipe right there. It still floods. It didn't change the problem. It just eliminated it for a little bit because we didn't have the heavy rains. So to make it to where the waters from Johnson in that specific intersection to go traveling, I guess that's north, towards the lake is not a feasible plan. And I only know because my son lives right off of there, and it still floods. So like I did say, the other problem we have is, can I have 2 seconds?
Quickly.
Okay. Because once the road is paved, it's already a speedway for travelers and people that cut through. We have children that ride their bikes to Gulf Highlands Elementary, and people do like to walk. It is pitch black at night, and there's not any sidewalk or room on the sides for people to get off the road if oncoming traffic is coming. So if they plan on doing the drainage, as they say, with the old plan of swales, people won't have a place to walk or even dart if they happen to be full of water. And it makes it unsafe for people to travel without a sidewalk. So when I asked, what would you do in order to do it so you wouldn't be ruining somebody else's work? You would need to do the drainage first, then the sidewalk, then the road. Otherwise, you're tearing up an existing road or bringing concrete trucks on a brand-new road to do sidewalks.
Okay.
So I really would implore that.
How are we doing sidewalks on this road? It's not an arterial or collector road. So how is the count?
We already have half the road has sidewalks. The part that's considered Gulf Highlands actually has sidewalks up until Rampart.
I don't,
Sort
unless
of.
this is a is this?
Collector
Okay,
road.
thank you very much. Ainsley's going to come up and answer some questions.
In terms of drainage, we have looked into drainage. We are finalizing a comprehensive drainage plan. I met with Ms. Garton on Friday, and we explored all that we're doing, and we're finalizing that. She brought up some points, and we'll be addressing those. In terms of sidewalk, we have spoken to CDBG Community Development Block Grant, and they're willing to explore funding the sidewalk. I'm working on the final details, but that's part of the plan for this project.
This is not a collector
It's not.
or an arterial, so, okay,
It's a cut-through. It
Okay.
qualifies as a cut-through.
okay. Commissioner Mariano?
So the cut-throughs would qualify for the 50%.
Yes, that's why you have the reduction.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, we tried to do the sidewalk project. I thought it was going to be put into the paving assessment as well, but that, I guess that didn't happen. You have to do it separately for the people just on Johnson. But if you can do CDBG, I think it's a great idea. We did some other work in East Brown Acres, not too far away. The drainage, I obviously want to see that done first. We were out there looking at a few different things. I'd like you to take her suggestions about if we have that property on Johnson Road that can take drainage. If it works, great. I think there's even another parcel around the corner. It's a bigger parcel around the corner that not really developable, but it might help as well. So, and I think we've talked about this already, so I would like to see maybe a presentation done on it. I'm going to support this thing going forward because this road's been waiting a long time. It's going to be critical for traffic being able to go two different ways right along 19 getting across. So I think it is important. I think because it does get paid, it'll get used more. There was no more public comment, correct?
Is there,
There was more? Okay. All right, let's get more public comment.
if there's anyone else wishing to speak to this item, you have to come up to the mic right now. And if this is the only person, and is there anyone online?
Not for this item.
This will be our last speaker on this item. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is John Kane. I live at 7333 Dalvin Court, which is part of this project. I've been there for 36 years. There is a lift station which is represented as a little tiny white square on Scallop and Johnson Road. Adjacent to that property is a large blue square that has become overgrown. Actually, we have homeless living there. Why couldn't that area be turned into a retention area / park and alleviate some of the drainage issues that are downstream into Gulf Highlands, which we spend a lot of county tax dollars taking trucks and sucking that lake and bringing it uphill and dumping.
Okay. Commissioner Mariano?
Yeah, the lake that we used to do that with, Vector trucks, et cetera, just right above Ashwood there, Mr. Carbella come up with a brilliant idea years ago about, there's actually a pipe that actually takes the water up north. Since he's taken it up, it actually drains out fairly well. The Scallop Drive property, we'll look at that. We did some improvements on there as well. We can take a look at that. But I think his idea about looking at that parcel is a great idea. I've looked at it before as far as a lot of it is wetland area. So it's sitting low. There's outers around that could be additional, but I think that's a good idea. So I'm going to make approval of the project with the drainage ideas mentioned by both residents, one for the big square there, the other for actually Pasco Utilities. If there's another parcel along Johnson Road that works, let's go do that with a comprehensive drainage plan. And I would like to see staff as well bring back a streetlight assessment project up and down the whole area as well.
And that large blue box is privately owned?
Yes.
Not run
Correct.
at this time?
Yeah.
Okay, I had one question. Is this a full-depth project, or is this a different kind of project?
Could you repeat?
Is it full-depth reclamation, or is that not needed here?
Just mill and repave.
Okay. Okay, all right, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you all for coming.
What number was that?
That was 75.
Okay, 76.
This matter was continued from the June 21st Board of County Commissioners meeting to August 9th, and then again at that meeting to this day, and publication was provided for the original hearing back in June.
Eagles.
Good afternoon, William Vermillion, Planning and Development. There has been changes to the conditions approval, if I can enter those into the record.
Yes.
It is a natural resources condition number 12.
Well, Eagle 77.
Do we have to have a motion to receive?
We're
if
doing
it's from
77 or
staff?
76?
Well, we're doing 76.
Yeah.
Motion to receive and file.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
That's in your area?
This is item PDD 227585, Eagle 2 Industrial EC MPUD. Here's the location map south of State Road 52 to the west of Bellamy Brothers. The current zoning district is AC, to the north is AR, to the east is MPUD, to the south is AC, to the west is AC. The future land use of this parcel is EC, to the north is Res 1, to the south is Res 3, to the east is EC, to the west is EC. Proposed is a rezoning request from AC Agricultural to an EC MPUD Employment Center Master Plan Unit Development District to allow for the development of 2 million square feet of corporate business park, target business, light industrial uses, and 150,000 square feet of support commercial on approximately 321.13 acres. This is the CPEV sub-area map. At the top is the current CPEV sub-area map, and on the bottom is proposed after these changes to Eagle 2 in terms of entitlements. This is the master plan. The proposed development is within the CPEV Central Pasco Employment Village, and the parcels are currently vacant. They're being used for agricultural pursuits. Effective August 24th, 2021, the landowners within this Eagle 2 ECMPUD entered into that certain exchange agreement for CPEV master plan use designations for portions of Swope, Kokolakis, East parcels, which is now recorded in OR Book 1042-6, page 461 of Public Records of Pasco County, Florida.
Can you go back to the last slide, please, for a moment? The one before that with the map?
This one, master plan.
Okay, thank you.
The applicant is seeking the following variations from the Land Development Code, Section 805.6 and 902.2M, to allow industrial parcels under single ownership to maintain their stormwater ponds, wetlands, and open space without having to plat them as separate tracts and convey to a separate entity for maintenance. All activity, maintenance, or restrictions in such areas shall be in accordance with the requirements of the environmental resource permit. The applicant has also submitted a non-substantial modification to the SR 52 Industrial Employment Center Master Plan Unit Development to revise the entitlements on Parcel 2 to be solely light industrial and increase the square footage from 482,780 to 700,000 square feet of light industrial. This will serve as the support commercial for both Eagle 1 and Eagle 2. It will all be allocated on the Eagle 2 MPUD. Going back, Eagle 1 is the all-purple parcel that is directly abutting Eagle 2 to the east. You'll notice that the map on top, the red, shifts to all-purple below, and it's because of this non-substantial modification, moving those support commercial entitlements to Eagle 2. The county is prepared to purchase Orange Belt Trail right-of-way along the southern portion of both Eagle 1 and Eagle 2 as set forth in the conditions of approval, or has the option to use an existing easement if agreement is reached with the beneficiary.
Oh.
And that's a 30-foot easement, and Pasco County would buy 30 feet north of that to make a total of 60 feet.
Okay, I won't stop you until you're done with your presentation.
Absolutely. This is a graphic depiction of that Orange Belt Trail. It's pretty hard to tell from here, but there's a hatched area that indicates the easement, and then you have the overall red area, which would include the 30 feet north that the county has an option to purchase. The proposed request is consistent with the Pasco County LDC, Chapter 400, subsection 402.2 Zoning Amendment MPUD Master Plan Unit Development, and applicable provisions of the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan. Planning and Development Department recommends approval with conditions. The Planning Commission voted 3-1 for denial.
With the changes, they voted 3-1?
No, the changes happened prior to, in between PC and BCC. It was denied on the fact of the trail.
Okay, yeah. And, so I have questions. I don't know if the applicant wants to go first, or would we ask our questions now?
I would suggest you take the applicant's
Okay,
presentation.
we'll have the applicant's presentation. And Mr. Carbala, who is gonna, besides me, speak about the trail on your staff? Who is your trail czar today? Sam?
Sam's here.
Sam, okay.
Good afternoon. Cynthia Spidell, Stearns Weaver, 401 East Jackson Street, and I have been sworn. We worked really hard to get to this point. We've worked out all issues. Thank you very much. We want to thank William Vermillion, Brad Tippin, Terry Pittas, and David Goldstein, and all of you for taking the time to work out these issues. And I have a full presentation, but that's at your pleasure if you'd like me to present that, or if you have any specific questions. But with that, we just thank you for your time, and we support staff's recommendation of approval.
I guess one of my first questions would be if there's any objections from your neighbors on the road.
Not to my knowledge.
And I
We've-
see one
yes,
here.
Yes.
So I just want to be sure.
Well, he can speak for himself, but we have worked really hard. We've met with him subsequent to the Planning Commission meeting to move the road alignment again. During that call, they indicated that they were okay with that revised alignment, so we based our revisions and resubmittal to the county based on that phone call. So what before you is based on what we understand they're okay with. And then we worked really hard with staff to come up with Orange Trail options. And so, like I said, we're very happy to answer any other questions, and the landowners here as well.
Okay, so does anyone else have questions?
Well, Madam Chair, I just wanted to wait and hear from, the public that's here to make sure we're all on the same page. I know we stated that everybody worked hard to fix that road alignment. I know that was, from me watching the Planning Commission meetings, that was obviously one of the things that needed to get worked out with your neighbor. And then I know the trail was a big part of it too, so I guess I'm just waiting to hear those two
Okay,
items and
sure.
have
Then I'll-
confirmation that everybody's on the same page now.
Right.
And I do have some questions about, and I apologize, if, the purchase price or any additional right-of-way that we'd be purchasing as well.
Well, that's what I'm going to
yeah.
have Sam talk about.
Yeah, so that, those are the,
Okay.
we seem to be on the same page.
So what we did for the right-of-way acquisition is we threw in the 30-foot easement for free. We based the additional 30 feet that you would be purchasing based on the comps in the area, and then averaged it over the 60 feet, so that it would be comparable with what occurred to the west of the property. So that option's in there, but obviously, if you can get the easement or the beneficiary of the easement to allow you to use the trail, then obviously the client's willing to give that to you for free.
Yeah, so,
And then I'll reserve any other additional comment based on rebuttal, if that's okay.
okay. Thanks, Cynthia. We put a lot of,
Chair.
put a lot of hours into this one.
Yeah. I think there was an issue about some of that right-of-way, because
Yeah, I'm gonna
we were
bring that
having to
up.
get right-of-way over Tampa Bay.
Right.
Right-of-way.
So on that 30-foot easement on the bottom, the St. Pete had the original easement, and when Tampa Bay Water was formed, that language went over to Tampa Bay Water. And Sam's been working very hard on this, and Tampa Bay Water has agreed that they don't need the easement, so if you want to speak to that, right, with our alignment?
Sam Bennick with Engineering Services. I can't say it better than you, ma'am. The Tampa Bay Water controls that easement, and we did get response from Tampa Bay Water that they didn't object. They had some pretty reasonable conditions that we would, expected and would comply with if we did go ahead and locate a trail along that alignment.
All right, so we our next little challenge will be moving eastward, but we are going to tackle that one next.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we have this one worked out. Commissioner Oakley.
The Vision Road that I've seen on the maps that come through there, there's no set alignment of that, because that doesn't
The
bind
Vision Road is
anybody.
to the north now.
But it's north of where the the easement for the sidewalk.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that Vision Road has a trail along it as well. So people will be able to live in the development and get to work without going on the road if they didn't want to.
But what I understand, that easement for that roadway is not set in stone, so it doesn't mean it can't change or something. It's my understanding.
Madam Chair, the MPUD, when you approve this MPUD, you are effectively setting the alignment
Right.
through this MPUD.
Okay, because I was told, oh, no, there's nothing set in stone, but I will set it if.
And that was the reason the neighbor was objecting, because it was in fact setting the alignment of the roadway through this MPUD.
Yeah, and I have concerns of setting alignment and then forcing that neighbor to do something he wouldn't want to do in his project coming forth without,
Well,
you know.
you probably need to hear from him, but the applicant's representing that he's now okay with the alignment. But this will set the alignment, I want to be clear about
I
that.
haven't heard that, so, okay. I've heard it, but I've not heard it from him.
Hear what you're saying.
Madam Chairman, maybe you ought to take public comment then.
Well, Madam,
Oh, do you have a question for Sam?
yeah, Sam, sorry.
Sam, can you come back up,
Yeah,
Sam?
sorry.
And
I'm gonna make sure I'm on the same page.
We'll take public
Yes.
comment afterwards.
All right, tell me again about let's talk about the trail one more time,
Yeah,
okay?
can you put the route
Yeah.
up, please?
Okay, so the applicant said they're giving 30 feet, correct? Easement? Well, we gotta, don't.
Can you go to
thir-
the map?
yes.
Can you go to map?
An easement of 30
Zoom
feet.
out.
But we would need to purchase the additional 30 feet.
No, we don't, if we needed it.
That's what,
I don't think
so
we
that's why I'm
need it.
wondering, if we don't, so you're basically selling us, we're not gonna need it now. That's,
Little
We
more.
have the
Bellamy
option,
Brothers is all the way to the right.
and I don't know if there's a slide that has that condition language, but the way that the condition is drafted, it gives us the option, when notified by the applicant that a sale is pending, that there's a period where the county has the option to either decide to not purchase right away or decide to purchase right away at that time. Right now, our study for this alignment is just getting underway, and so if it's acceptable to everyone, I would suggest that we wait until the applicant has need for us to make a decision, and based on the best information at that time, we can either purchase at a price that has been negotiated and agreed to, or opt to continue. This would allow us, again, to continue working with Tampa Bay Water and go from an email, which is we trust their email, but
Right.
work
I had
out
a
an
conversation
agreement
too.
or-
okay, good.
That part.
No, that's good, because I'm just being honest. So the last thing I'd want to do, is have to buy another 30-foot, additional 30-foot easement at a current market rate with what it is now, because the prices are inflated. So we lose.
Yeah, so I'm hoping she's getting the map up, because I want to give you a big picture of what's happening in this area. So are we putting maps on? Or Google Earth, whatever you want to call
Because
it?
you're going to pay a pretty penny for that.
Yes, sir.
If
And-
you're looking at current valuations now in Pasco County, what we would have paid 2 years ago, or just be honest, when the purchaser paid, what they paid for it, it's inflated now. So I would be very,
We did work with our
Concerned
attorney's
about
office and the
paying that for
real property
easement
and
for a trail.
planning. I'm sorry.
I'd just be concerned paying that high of price for an easement for a trail.
We did work with the county staff who have we understand the most direct,
Zoom out.
understanding of that issue,
More.
and concluded that the agreeing to a price now, while we were not tied to having to purchase that right away, was preferable to waiting and maybe having either a higher price later or getting into an extended debate about whether or not what the definition of, fair market value is. Given where we are in our study, we now have a clear understanding of what the cost of that right away would be, and so we can very accurately compare that against.
So what's that number?
81,000 per acre.
So give me a total. Well, you can't talk from there, sorry, for the record.
All of it is, both options are in condition 35 with the prices.
Okay, well, just give me the price. For, I mean, for the public and everybody else, I mean.
I'll get the exact number.
I hear rumbling.
It's not added up in the condition, it's just 5.744 acres times 81,122.
Five times 8, is that what you're saying? So.
Yeah, 5.7.
Let me do my math. 5 times 8 is 40.
40 and some
And I'm gonna
change.
add 3 zeros, so 400,000 plus?
465.
You're like, look at that, I can do math.
844. You were faster than
Oh,
my
is it?
calculator.
Okay.
Count.
All right, so I wanted to
that's-
show you what's happening
that's
here.
hard.
Yeah, but I don't think we're gonna need it. So if you see Aaron Cutoff kind of is on your left, and up here is Tampa Sporting Clays,
Yep.
which you don't want a trail going by. And I thought originally we were coming up that southern edge, and I thought that was gonna be exciting. But the way we think it's gonna go, right, Sam, is that we're gonna jump onto this Swift Mud Road going in that's Cypress Creek, is that right? And it comes up and and you see where it, I don't have a pointer, but you can see where it touches, yeah, right up there. And that's where we reconnect with the Orange Belt Trail and head east. So that's going to be a beautiful ride through that park, so.
Oh, Madam Chair, I don't disagree
yeah.
with you one bit. I just don't want to pay, almost $500,000 for
Yeah. Well, there's.
that right away.
It's an easement that no one's ever used, and but when we've got permit.
But you feel confident
Very,
that
very.
Tampa Bay Water is going to
They already said it.
pass it
Yeah.
over then?
And then
So
I
we would
clarified
not
it.
have to make that purchase. And I'm sure the applicant would prefer not to have to sell it to us, so, because he probably wants to use the land anyways. I could be wrong, but I know that's part of the condition to allow that to happen if we need it. All right. If
All
you're
right,
confident,
so-
I'll trust you.
So I appreciate all the parties working hard together and getting everyone on the same page. And we thank Tampa Bay Water and St. Pete as well. Now's the time for public comment. Come on up, Andy.
There's the man.
Andy Joe Scaglione, I have been sworn in. I agree with Mr. Goldstein that the approval of this MPDU, MPUD sets the general alignment of the Vision Road. With that understanding, I do not oppose the location of the connectability between Eagle 2 and D&D Ranch, which is our family, as shown on this MPUD site map. I'd like to thank Mr. Goldstein and William and staff for being, it's a shame that this wasn't done at the Planning Commission, that it had to come to this point. There's been a lot of time and effort of my engineer, Dan Bergen, and Matt Maggard, that I've had to spend to get to this point, and I'm not happy that it had to get to that point. I appreciate y'all looking after the taxpayers' money, Mr. Moore, Mr. Oakley, and Mr. Oakley. That road, the trail would be beautiful, but thank you for getting that, because I was having some heartburn as a taxpayer paying 80-something thousand acre when it was just sold for $25,000 back in July of last year. So, so anyway, thank you very, very much. Appreciate you.
Okay, thanks, Andy. Okay, is there anyone else that wishes to speak to this item? All right, it is to the board.
Where is the road that he is now in agreement to?
It was shown in his slide. Is it part of your presentation? It's on this, here, I'll just hand you that.
That's the slide I
The
asked
top
him
one.
to show previously.
Oh, they changed it a little bit. Okay, can I take a motion?
And he is in agreement, because he didn't say that.
Yes, he just said.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'm happy our parties were able to work together and get through this. I don't disagree. I wish we could have, probably, I'm sure David himself too, probably wishes this would have not had to continue through the planning commission but we are where we are now, so move for approval.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Madam,
What?
and that includes the revised conditions that were passed out.
Yes, it does.
Thank you.
Correct, Mr. Motion Maker?
That is part of my motion, yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, that one's done. We are putting a lot of jobs on the books today. Thank you very much. P 77.
P77, we have proof of publication of the hearing of this matter in the July 6th, 2022 edition of the Tampa Bay Times. We do have one person online.
Good afternoon, William Vermillion, Planning and Development. This is Stillwell Pasco Station MPUD, PDD 227613. Here's an aerial view of the site. It is right on Old Pasco Road, south of State Road 52. Future land use is Res 12. To the north is ROR. To the south is PD. And to the west is Res 12. The current zoning is AR and AC. To the north is C2. To the south is MPUD. And to the west is MPUD. The applicant is requesting a rezoning from AC Agricultural District and AR Agricultural Residential District to an MPUD Master Plan Unit development on approximately 29.23 acres. They're asking for a maximum of 285 multifamily dwelling units. The applicant requests the following variations from the Land Development Code, LDC Section 901.6.D11, Street Design and Dedication Requirements, LDC 907.1F3 on-site parking, and LDC 805.6 restrictions on post-development wetlands and upland buffers.
Madam Chair,
Yeah,
can you elaborate what those changes are?
yeah, I wasn't aware of that. I knew the on-street parking thing.
Are you asking for an elaboration, sir?
Yes.
Oh, it's my next slide. LDC 901.6 D11 staff identified the following. The applicant does not propose interconnections to the east or south because of the existing Tampa Bay Golf and Country Club, and the connections to the north will be made in the form of 2 pedestrian/bike paths. Staff has determined that this connection in this form will provide better circulation between this development and the northern parcel in the future.
That makes sense. That's a gated community to the right.
LDC 907.1F3, staff identified the following. The applicant has requested to reduce the on-site parking ratio from 2.25 spaces per unit to 2 spaces per unit. Staff determined the reduction in the area of asphalt reduced heat, and this ratio is above the 85th percentile peak parking demand in ITE. The parking study by Razor Transportation is included in this agenda packet. LDC 805.6, staff identified the following. The applicant has requested that a covenant shall impose a perpetual obligation to maintain, operate, repair, replace, insure, and pay taxes upon the master developer. The applicant has requested this variation because this project will be operated and maintained under common ownership. There will be no homeowner, property owners, condominium owners, merchants association. This is the master plan. This is their yield concept.
Has that changed? Yes, that's changed.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the original yield concept.
Okay.
And you'll notice that all the products are one story that abut the Tampa Bay Golf and Country Club.
I think there's
which
a
is
pond
conditioned.
on that edge now.
Yes. On April 19th, 2022, a small-scale comprehensive plan use amendment, CPAS 2206, from Res 3 to Res 12 was approved by the Board of County Commissioners. The Planning and Development Department has reviewed the requested variations and found that they meet or exceed the extent of the code. On July 21st, 2022, the Planning Commission voted to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners unanimously. The proposed request is consistent with the Pasco County LDC, Chapter 400, subsection 402.2 zoning amendment, master plan unit development with the applicable provisions of the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan. This comes to you with a recommendation of approval with conditions from Planning Commission and Planning and Development Department. Thank you.
Thank you. The applicant's representative is approaching.
Good afternoon again, Barbara Wilhite, 6327 Grand Boulevard, Newport Richey. Excellent presentation. The only thing I would say is that to say that we're multifamily units, we are an MPUD that has a specific permitted use. There's one permitted use. And the permitted use says 2 stories or less, detached or attached units, but not platted as separate lots. So cannot be garden-style multifamily, can't be anything over 2 stories. They can be, and they're all commonly owned under one project. As was mentioned by William, 1 story along Tampa Bay Golf and Country Club. This project is, if you master planned a project to kind of occur like this, this is how it would occur in my view. You have garden-style apartments to the west, you have single-family detached to the west, you have townhomes to the west, you have commercial to the north, and wrapping around a little bit to the northeast, you have this project, and then you have a 55 and over community. You have all the pieces of a master plan. You have an existing road, Old Pasco, that's been improved. It already has a 5-foot sidewalk, which unlike a lot of roads, it already has a 5-foot sidewalk on the east side, a 10-foot trail on the west. 52 has been improved in this area, also has sidewalks and trails. This will be a high-end, what's called a build-to-rent project. It will complement the 2 million square feet of corporate business park to the west that you just approved, P76. We are P77, last but least today, I see. And the 4 million square feet of industrial and 725,000 square feet of office that you approved to the east of this project, P72. I have my team available here, and we have met with the neighboring homeowners association. They have expressed their support. I know there's somebody online. I don't know who that is, but would be ready to respond once we hear what they have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Board members, any questions?
Yeah, Barbara, please stay. The picture that you showed me when we met a while ago, do you have that aerial shot with the map?
We do. We can get it up.
All right. There were some changes that I recommended. Did they get incorporated in?
You wanted 2 units moved, and they cannot just change their site that quickly, so they will continue to consider that, but they have not changed their plan.
What about with the walkways?
So we talked to staff about, I talked to staff, not we, I talked to staff, and staff needs to talk about that. One thing that we learned, and in the meeting subsequent to yours with one of the other commissioners, was that the Orange Belt Trail, when it comes up to Bellamy, is going to take a jog to the north. So this may be an offshoot of the Orange Belt Trail coming down our way, but would not be the Orange Belt Trail because it's going to jog to the north at Bellamy, and we are at Old Pasco. So that's kind of a change. So once we learn that, and then talking to Terry Pitos, with the existing sidewalk infrastructure that's already in place, they didn't think the spend for additional, using mobility fees to put more pavement for pedestrians and bikes in this location, especially because to the south, it's going to be what the existing is, the 5 feet sidewalk on the side would be something that they'd want to support. But I'll let Terry respond to you, because it's really a staff issue. If you want us to build a sidewalk off-site for mobility fee credits, we can certainly do that, but you're spending the money doing that.
I need to correct you on something.
Yes?
We don't know which way the Orange Belt's going to go, if it's going to continue down Old Pasco, down the route to Old Pasco, and then it's going to be an offshoot going north. That is undetermined.
Okay.
The route
I
study's
only learned my
underway.
facts from you also.
But it will be connecting to Old Pasco Road and then heading south, because there are a lot of schools down on the south of this. And, but I believe that the trail is on the west side of this road already.
The trail is on the wider path, the 10-foot path is on the west side of Old
Yeah.
Pasco. Our side has a 5-foot sidewalk.
Right.
Internally, what we can control is our sidewalks, and we are doing a 8-foot path. 10? 5, we have connections to the north, and one's a multi-use, yeah, 8 foot. What we can do is within our project, and what staff has asked us to do is make an 8-foot path going to the north within our project connecting to the commercial parcel, and a 5-foot sidewalk to go to the north. And those are set up on a grid. As you can see, our pedestrian and our open spaces are all based upon a grid, so they're all connected and designed that way. So to the left is that you can see where the yellow is, that's the 8-foot path. To the right is the 5-foot sidewalk. Already in Old Pasco, there is a 5-foot sidewalk. The discussion with Commissioner Mariano was whether to do an additional sidewalk or path of 8 feet or so within the Old Pasco right-of-way going to the north and up your right-of-way. That would be a mobility fee project. You'd be using your bike ped fees for that. You don't have a ton of those, but again, that's really a discussion for you to have with staff. We're not opposed to doing an off-site project for mobility fee credits to the extent that we have enough to pay for that off-site project with credits. But that's the conversations and the conversations with staff and what we've done with our project that we control.
Commissioner Mariano, and so in my mind, and someone can tell me if I'm wrong, or a 5-foot sidewalk is not a path. We need to have a definition that a path is a minimum of X amount of feet, but it's not 5 feet, first of all. And I had mentioned that about the recreational opportunity going around that pond at the front. If that's that should not be 5 feet, that should be wider. And I had made the suggestion of going around the other pond too, but it's just, I don't think you can call a sidewalk a path, personally.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
I did
You
not.
were talking exactly the same things I was talking about. In the 2 units that I talked about, if you look where it says open play area, 0.7 acres for all these people out here, those 2 lots there, that could open up that land to be a much better play area. Around that whole lake, I think they should have a walking trail, walking path for amenity inside. Everywhere along from Old Pasco Road on their property, running all the way up to the top of their property, because the other 2 yellow areas aren't going to be built in who knows when, it should be at least an 8-foot path running all the way north-south. So if people are going to cross the street one way or the other, or going up and down, they got a path in place. It's going to be, it's a busy road. It's going to get busier.
If I can say a couple things. One, I would never represent a sidewalk to be a path. Didn't do that. Yeah, I don't do that. Yeah, I agree. I agree. A path is 8, 10, minimum 8. Sidewalks are 5, for, depending on where they're at. Sometimes they're less. With regard to the parks, we have over 3 acres of parks. My only client, this is in the multifamily category, although it's not garden-style multifamily. My only client that is exceeding your neighborhood parks ordinance.
Yeah.
So the minimum requirement for neighborhood parks is a 1/2 acre. The park we're looking at is 0.7. The park next to their amenity area is an acre. These are, in the linear parks, if I could see it, I could close enough up enough, but the linear parks exceed the 1/2 acre as well. So as Mr. Pitos could probably explain to you, because he says it often, this is the site plan of a high-quality build-to-rent project. He has actually asked for their materials so he can, as other people come into pre-app with him, he can share it with them and say, this is what I'd like to see. So.
Yeah, Madam Chair, could I just say, and listen, and again, as always, I appreciate everybody's comments, but my comment on this is, we talk about the internal project itself and the sidewalks and the parks, okay, they're going above and beyond already what's required. If somebody's gonna go in there and want to lease one of these units, they're gonna look around. If they don't think the sidewalks or quote, paths are wide enough, they won't go there. They'll make a different choice. So let the consumer make their choice once they drive in. Do they like it or they don't like it? I mean, we don't need to do the architecture for them.
No, but it matters if you're calling a path part of your recreational, park space, or,
We are not trying to, a lot of your. a
They're
lot of your-
above and beyond already. They've already gone above and beyond, at least when I met with them.
A lot of our applicants put ponds around stormwater put paths around
Yes.
stormwater ponds to get credit against the neighborhood park requirement. But that is not the case here. It's
Yeah.
not the why we show that amenity around our pond. It's in addition to the park space, actual open space, park space, meeting the minimum requirements that exceed your code.
Madam Chair?
yeah.
Commissioner Moore, these are like apartments, they're just different. The rental product that's out there. All the attractions that are gonna go on all around it, and hard to get to places, because Old Pasco Road, you don't have transportation go up and down.
I'm talking about internally.
No, and I'm saying, I wanna see more internal stuff to keep people in there,
They got it.
going from spot to spot. I mean, literally, is it too much to ask a trail going up and down on the roadway? Is it too much to ask for a trail going around that lake? I mean, yeah,
Well,
right.
I thought when in the
mean,
meeting that they agreed to make that a continuous circle, but is that not the case?
I'll have my client answer.
Trying to remember.
We are talking about a very specific plan, I understand that. We brought it forward, so it's not that that's not what we're doing, so, he can respond regarding what he intends to do around that pond feature there.
Madam Chair, I think you have public comment too, so.
Yeah.
I know, but these are questions I asked before, and I.
Oh, no, I understand. I
expected
just,
to
I
see
just
them on
think,
there, and-
but no, I just want to make sure she knew that I know there were some people online too.
Yeah, I mean, it's, let's face it, this is a huge bump in density. And we want to build premier places. And I'm just thinking that if we're going to give this much density, let's give a little bit better of a situation for our people that are renting, not going to be buying, they have no control of what happens out later on. Let's make it as good a place as we can, and I think those two things I've just mentioned, I don't think it's extraordinary.
So, and I think this is a really nice layout and a nice project. But if you look over here where it says park equals 0.5 acres, the access to those houses is from that sidewalk lining the park. So the park, the green space in the middle is the park. But up here where it says park equals 1.2 acres, the sidewalk, well, okay, wait. How do you access, which is the front, which is the back of those houses?
For one moment on this?
Yeah, sure.
These are site review elements that
Oh.
are done after the site is engineered.
Okay, so we're being too
We will look at
specific?
access and connections and all those things, and we're
Okay.
getting very far in the weeds for,
All right.
this is a very generic concept plan. We understand, I think, what the board is looking for here. I also wanted to address the discussion of paths versus sidewalks. In this particular case, these are more pedestrian interconnects, with one standard interconnect, which would be the 5-foot going to the north, and then something that's a little bit upgraded, which would be the 8-foot. Paths are something we talk about when we talk about something that's longer. You're going along a street. This is basically connecting two properties. So it's a little bit of a different concept as far as how that's defined, and I don't think the applicant has in any way misled anyone as to kind of those. They're going above and beyond, trying to make those interconnects so you have options, putting them in locations where they make sense to have that connectivity. So just want to clarify that a little bit. But we can certainly, at the time of site plan, we hear you, and we hear what you're asking as far as having things internal to the site, connections inside in this site, given the type of product that it's intended to be, to make sure that, to the extent that we can work with the client to get that to happen.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
When I look, and I'm glad you mentioned that a little bit, Clara, because when I look at our park ordinance that we have in place, I don't think where it says the northern part, where it says 1.2 acres, and you get that linear path right between the back of townhomes, do you really think it's a park? What can you do there? You can play football there? Soccer? You have a sidewalk right in the middle of a roadway. How much space is between those areas? I don't even think that qualifies. I don't think that's the intent. You got another little area here, loaded with trees in there. I don't know if it can be cleared out or not. that other little space that's right over there, I just don't think it meets the intent. I actually feel even stronger now about even those two homes. That acre of where it says 0.7 acres to the side of the pond, that whole area should be a park.
Okay, Brad?
I can speak to that very, very briefly. The way the Parks Ordinance reads was changed several years ago. I think it was to allow a variety of options, not just large parks that were just open space, and it allowed some micro parks and linear parks. Those linear parks need to be 30 feet wide, and they are geared towards programming for people that use things like trails, jogging trails, walking trails with amenities, things like that, to be allowed to be included in the parks calculation. But all of those things are looked at site plan. It's dependent on the number of
But a
units.
trail is not a sidewalk, is that right? That's what I'm asking. I mean, it's an interesting
Internal
question.
to a site, it's just an amenity to the site. It really, when you're talking about how something connects to another area, that's your trail, that's your path, that's your connection. This could be an amenity, however they choose to design it, and we can look at it. Our parks team will review it and say whether or not it complies with the code that Commissioner Mariano was speaking to, if they believe that it does comply or does not comply, or if they want something different there.
Will it have playgrounds and activities for the kids?
I would have to, the applicant address that.
So again, we'll have Jeremy come on up. It's his project, and he can talk to you about his programming of his project.
Sure. Hey, Jeremy Knuckles, 13 Seastone Court, Inlet Beach, 32461. So, no, our project does not have playgrounds in it. We design our projects and the programs specific to the demographics that we are typically seeing in these projects. We have several of these projects around the southeast, and we are not seeing a high level of families with kids. We're seeing predominantly retirees, we're seeing empty nesters, and we are seeing newly married couples.
And I forgot to ask, do you have the breakdown again of the
The-
4-page, with the breakdown, the newlyweds or?
We think it's
empty
roughly about
nesters?
60% retirees, empty nesters, and then the rest, 40% single family, 40% young professionals, newly married. And as far as the park
dawned on
space,
me because-
we are showing 3 acres on there dedicated. We have over 7 acres of linear park space in that site plan.
And it dawned on me because the goal is to have a park within 1 mile for kids. So if we have this density and no playground there, then we're gonna have to build a playground.
Well, I can assure you that if we end up, as we operate all of these, if we end up with a high number of families with young kids, that's something that we typically retroactively come back and put in our projects.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
How are you going to when you have no space available, everything's built out the way this is built out, where are they going to retroactively fit? You've got a school down the street, you got a tremendous population road, you got a little 2-lane road now, going to be expanded out, it's going to be heavy traffic, it's heavy traffic now. You're going to have, look at the acres.
Yeah,
Look at the 0.5 acres on the right hand of the screen, that's a park? That's an area between homes, all that is, to give some space, which is good. I think it's a nice amenity, but I don't think it's a park. The linear park that you have up there, I think it's amenity, but I don't think it's a park. You've got that little 1-acre piece that's over there that's got a sidewalk between it. I don't know what you're going to put in there. And if you have seniors, I don't see anything for what seems to be the most popular thing is pickleball courts. I don't see any of that out there. And how are you going to put that in after?
They have bocce.
So, Commissioners, he's explained to you how much acreage he has in open space and the ability to.
And I'm
be
looking at it,
nimble.
Barbara, and I don't think that little spaces between townhomes or apartments,
And we're telling you that we exceed you have a neighborhood parks ordinance, this project exceeds it, meets the requirements. I bring forward a site plan to show you, and then this is kind of what I get, it's pretty frustrating. You approved
I told you this up front, though.
You approved 2 BTRs over Miranda, approved. We exceed anything the staff's ever been shown, and then we still have to stand here and have our site plan picked at, and I can't tell you how disappointing that is. this is not an unthoughtful project. This is not, I have clients that will ask me to, won't present it to the county. I have leftover remnants of pieces of my property. Can we claim those as neighborhood parks? And the staff looks at it immediately and goes, yeah, no. And it won't even present it to the county. But this is not a situation where they have leftover pieces. All of this is planned. Jeremy is a planner. He's a landscape architect. He's a principal in the company. They did watercolor, worked for St. Joe. I mean, we're talking about somebody who doesn't just do stuff to do it and to cram things in. This is thoughtfully done. I would really like to hear Terry Pito speak to the plan, your plan, or speak to and critique or explain what he thinks about this plan. Maybe perhaps that would, because I can't convince you, it sounds like, of what a good plan this is, but maybe the district commissioner.
Well,
or
I do
somebody else.
see, Barbara, 1 acre up here in .7, so I can see where he could retrofit like a playground. But at what point would you recommend a playground? What percentage of, because if we're going to have to implement a playground or something within a mile from.
Your code does not require any playgrounds for anybody.
Right.
I'll address that later.
Commissioner
But you
Oakley?
could retrofit, so I can.
Yes, but
Thank
we're
you.
in the realm of telling them now to do a playground when they've told you their demographics won't support it, when your code doesn't require a playground.
Commissioner Oakley?
Right, this actually is a very good project. It's done very well. When you think of multifamily, a lot of times you think of vertical, and you got all this, no room, no parking, none of that. But this actually is done very well, and it fits the property, fits the community. It doesn't look like a rental unit. It does look like homes for people that want to live there. And I'll leave it up to you if you need a playground equipment, but sounds to me you're going to have, most of your people are going to be newly married folks and seniors, or people downsizing from a bigger home to this kind of project. So,
Yeah.
But it really fits this area very well.
Well, thank you very much, and I just want to point out, we are not eliminating playgrounds because it's not a cost. This is a heavily amenitized project. It is directly what our business program is, and that's what we feel like the residents that we are typically seeing at our assets want. That's what we're trying to deliver. So number one being connectivity throughout there, and again, there's 7 acres of open space on this.
Madam Chair?
I am okay.
Let me ask you a question. So, I talk with you, why would you put a walkway around that whole lake?
The lake in the front, we're not against putting a walkway around. We didn't want to affect any of the clearing in the large lake to the back. And this is a concept plan. I will speak to that. You see that center, that part to the north, you're just seeing a sidewalk down through the center. This was to get a concept plan in front of you for rezoning. Once we get to detail on the sidewalks, we'll show you exactly where all the sidewalks go, how the connectivity is. That park on the north, that linear park, it would have a sidewalk running down each side. It wouldn't have a park running down the center.
Right, and what about running an 8-foot path running north-south on Old Pasco Road?
Well, currently there's the 5-foot path,
I'm asking for an 8.
and is that in the code for the 8?
I'm asking you.
Terry's stepping up, so.
Yeah, we need to have staff because
Yeah.
you're asking about an off-site improvement. Yes, we can talk about our on-site, but you need to figure out the off-site, because if you don't figure out the off-site part of it, what you're going to do, or what we are going to have to do the north for mobility fee credits, then we don't have anything to connect to. So let's have Terry kind of talk to you all, and then we can circle back.
Yeah, and I do have a question. How will people safely, are we programming, and Sam's here, I don't know if Tina's here, but are we programming a way for these residents to be able to cross the street to get to the trail? Can we make sure we get a crosswalk somewhere?
So, Madam Chair, Nectarios Pitos of the Planning and Development Department, if I can preface Sam real quick, can we go back to the aerials really quick in the presentation? And I just want to kind of give an overall context of the area so that we can answer the question a little bit about the 8-foot paths. on the east side of Old Pasco. So, as you can see, the site is right next to the, I forget the official name, Tampa Bay Golf and Country Club. And if you notice further south of the subject site, it's the back of homes to the country club. And so most of the population that lives in the country club is not really going to be accessing Old Pasco, at least on a pedestrian scale, to go north all the way to 52. So I think project management can speak to the trail being on the west side of Old Pasco Road, because there are the schools further to the south.
Right.
And so all of the population in that area that's going to be seeking to access the schools are going to be making their crossings at the designated points and using the trail on the west side of Old Pasco. On the east side of Old Pasco, I could see why there would be a sidewalk that would run along the country club and then potentially along this site as well, and get you all the way north to 52. For this particular site, we, in our discussions with the applicant, we decided that the sidewalk along 52 would be, or Old Pasco rather, would be fine, since the actual trail is on the west side of Old Pasco, and that internal to this site, we could get this population,
Right.
which is separate from the country club, to go north through their site and connect into the commercial property. Once into the commercial property could then build whatever path network is necessary along 52 to take you from this site on the east side of Old Pasco west to wherever the Orange Belt Trail ultimately would cross 52 to get to the north side and over
Madam Chair?
I-75.
Yeah.
So that was some of the
Let-
logic there.
Yeah, but, so let's think logically. So you've got two openings to go north-south in the middle of the property. What if that property doesn't develop? What are these people going to do in between all that time? Where are they going to go?
You're referring to the commercial property?
The property you just talked about, connecting to the north to get up to 52. If the other property never builds, that thing never connects, those people never go. This is going to come in right now. Where are these people going to go now?
Well, I think that's an important question. I think we're, in some respects, anticipating that property to develop because of its proximity to the interchange of 52 and I-75, and it being a viable commercial development site. So this is kind of a situation where this is coming in first, and we anticipate the commercial site to be coming in soon thereafter.
I'm good to keep it in there if you need it, but for right now, when the people come in, instead of having a 5-foot path, why wouldn't you say an 8-foot path would be better?
But Jack, what's that going to connect to?
Get them, well, eventually up to 52, and we may even put a project into 52 if we want to go up there.
I'm okay with having a multi-use path on one side of the road. I don't think we need it on both sides personally, but I would like there to be, that our traffic management has to figure, is it possible to have a crosswalk, painted crosswalk to get to the other side of the street? But we're way ahead of ourselves on that. So, my question about path versus sidewalk is kind of a big picture question for staff, that we need to be sure we're not using a sidewalk as a park-like feature when a path is a recreational park-like feature. And we have to be sure to differentiate between the two. And I'm not saying he is, I'm just saying that in a big picture. I mean, if we're gonna say a 5-foot sidewalk is recreation, then every single neighborhood's gonna come in and use their 5-foot sidewalk wrapping around their streets as part of their park calculations. And we don't want that. So that's all I was saying, we gotta differentiate between the two, in my opinion.
So, as we want to build a nice place for people to go, if we set stuff up now, we're zoning it in MPUD.
Well, you know,
The plan's in front of us. If we're ever going to ask for it, now's the time.
so a build to rent, I think, is a new animal for all of us, and we just need to look, you know, I'd kind of like to go back at the ones we've approved, and I think we made some mistakes. I think this is the best one we've seen come forward personally. Would we like to see a little more open space? I mean, some more, you know, we just went blank on our screens, that's why. I got, you know, for me, I would, but I think, you know, they'll start doing their plans in a little more detail, and maybe they'll figure out a way to have a little more open space, because I think that would be good, but
And these questions are.
I'm okay with it as it is right now.
I have no idea.
Got public comment? Anybody speak?
Yeah, is there anyone here to speak to this item?
Madam Chair, we have one person that was online, still there.
Okay.
It would be Elaine Ayen.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Elaine Ayen. I live at 29322 Princeville Drive, San Antonio, and I'm a resident of Tampa Bay Golf and Country Club. I and dozens of my
Ma'am, were you
neighbors.
online at the time that you were, I administered the oath, or are you?
I was,
You acknowledge that, thank you.
yes. I and dozens of my neighbors opposed the Stillwell rezoning application, and I would have spoken at the July Planning Commission meeting, but was out of state. Listening today to all the agenda items this afternoon, I see that there are 6 separate items for rezoning just on today's agenda, which creates over 7,000 new homes and millions of industrial retail square footage. And that's just today's agenda. In just this year, within a couple miles of my house, dozens more projects have already been approved, tens of thousands more houses, and millions more retail office footage. The approvals seem to be done in a routine manner, like all is well, but I'm here to tell you something I have to think you already know, and that's that it's not all well. Already, Pasco is the 3rd busiest county in the state for EMS calls. At the August 9th board meeting, 2 people spoke of the dangerously long response times from Pasco Fire EMS. One of the speakers said this matter had been brought to your attention a full year ago. Since then, has anything been done to fix this? As the Laker Lutz News noted last week, the fire department is not even able to meet national standards for response times right now. How will this not be a catastrophe when all these approved projects are built and inhabited, adding tens of thousands of residents? The county's firefighters have been asking the board for its help. This is a public safety issue, which should be a top priority. You're not doing Pasco County residents any favors by building them new houses and inviting thousands of new people to move in when our public safety infrastructure has not and cannot keep them safe. So to summarize, Pasco Fire EMS is struggling and has repeatedly asked for the board's help. Instead, the board is approving thousands and thousands of new housing units every single month. It is inevitable the county will see an increase in traffic accidents, fires, and medical emergencies. How is it responsible to continue to approve such rapid new growth without properly resolving the essential fire EMS public safety concern? I urge you to pause rezoning approvals, at least in the Route 5275 area. People's lives are truly at stake, and this is why I and my neighbors oppose the Stillwell rezoning. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, I think our county administrator, can you respond to the fire questions to make sure she's aware of all the money and projects that are coming in regards to fire rescue?
Yeah, from a large overview perspective, we have a number of new fire stations that are either under construction, under design, or in process. We recognize that we're catching up on a lot of that. We're also putting a lot more money into additional apparatus and equipment for fire rescue. So those items are coming forward. A large chunk, actually, of the new proposed budget is coming forward with investments in fire rescue. So those investments are being made and are forthcoming. You recognize these developments take time to come online as well, so.
Yep, so thank you very much. Okay.
That was the only one we had signed up.
Madam Chair?
Yes,
Oh, jeepers.
Commissioner Moore.
It doesn't sound like it's, there we go. Okay. Barbara, you ready? Come back on up? And I, you know, again, for the record, I did meet with Barbara and her client, and obviously had questions and went through this as well. And you mentioned to me that you had conversations with the leadership at Tampa Bay Golf and Country Club?
Yes, and I'll have, my team they'd had those conversations, so let
Yeah.
them tell you about it.
Yes, we did. There are 10 HOAs within there. There's one HOA that abuts our property along both sides. And we did meet multiple times with the president of the HOA. He was here for the planning commission meeting, and he has also had several conversations with people on his streets within the HOA that he oversees. We did reach out to the master HOA. That was first, but secondarily, we went to the one that we abutted.
Okay, so none of them objected?
No,
And you could stay, yeah, just for the record.
Sir.
All right. So one of the things you explained to me that you did, again, was that buffering. They had concerns.
We
Instead of
did.
instead of doing two-story homes, you decided to do one-story homes along what's going to be essentially be a new retention pond, which would
Correct.
would add extra bufferage to the neighbors, which they were satisfied with.
On the east, well, we actually did that proactively.
Oh, okay,
As something we felt was a good transition to those single-family homes.
Yeah.
You saw the first concept that was submitted. It had one stormwater pond in the northeast corner. After we looked at a lot of the topo, we decided it would be best to break our ponds in two, and that gave us the opportunity to provide that buffer. So it's about a 150-foot buffer along the eastern property boundary before you get to any of our units, and those units are one story.
I play a lot of, well, I don't play as much anymore, but my son plays a lot of golf at Tampa Bay Golf Country Club for the golf team he was on at Cypress Creek and stuff. So I spent a lot of time watching him. And I'll go play the 9-hole course out there. I can still handle that these days. You know, good people there. That's one of the things that I was questioning to make sure that, you know, you did work with those HOAs and those residents there because they are an important part of our community. And one of the things that did kind of resonate with me, well, the big thing is we're not trying to rezone a commercial or office property and take away, once again, job-creating sites, which we all know I have an issue with that. It's no big secret out there. But since a lot of the residents that will be coming here are 55 and up, I do like the location because now they'll be able to use the amenities next door to the Bay Golf and Country Club. So now they'll have, because it is a public course at the same time. You can play there. The public can play on that golf course. And they have a great 18-hole and then 9-hole as well. So it'll probably help, you know, just make an assumption, maybe increase the revenue at the golf courses and
sustain it. Yep.
during down times. But they stay pretty busy there, but it would probably help that as well. But it would give those seniors that are moving here that maybe are the point where, like we said, you know, still want to remain in a home, in a true home, versus a multi-story apartment complex, which I like this so much better, for our area at least, then they'll be able to, you know, the affordability, maybe they don't want to buy the house next door or can't, or some of the people that are probably at Tampa Bay Golf and Country Club may end up selling their house since the market's so good and moving to the rental.
Traveling with their equity.
The home, but they'll be able to utilize it. So listen, I'm fine with this again, just for the reasons I stated.
You know, interesting that.
And I understand your concerns, so.
Yeah,
I mean,
me too, and I
you
think
want to
it's-
work through it, I mean, you know.
We gotta look at that as in a big picture.
I'm looking big picture, and I don't think I'm asking for too much. I mean, if he's got to move because of that one pond, he can't put the sidewalk all the way around it?
Yeah.
If he
You'll put the
takes,
sidewalk around the pond, right?
The one, yes, the one in the front, the north, or I'm sorry, on the.
Sidewalk or a path?
yeah.
What would you like?
A path.
Give them 8 feet.
So people can walk
You have
side
8
by
feet?
side, or a
Definitely
parent
do a
can walk
path.
with their kid on a trike or something,
You
yeah.
can do a path around
Okay,
that.
yeah.
We do not, we don't want to clear any more than we have to.
Agreed, on that back one, yeah.
boundary.
Yeah.
So interesting point that
That,
surfaced. You know, these people on Old Pasco have probably, and this is kind of to the caller on the phone, these people have probably lived here a long time. And I look at the name, Commissioner Oakley, McKendry.
Yeah.
Probably lived here for a long time and felt that when this neighborhood came into their east, probably was a big change for them,
Yep.
right? So, changes here,
Give them that.
and I'm sure that your neighborhood had an effect on this person's at what was then a very, much more rural lifestyle, but this area is going to be filled in as time goes by, because everyone wants to live in Florida right now.
These price points are pretty, I'm not trying to knock you, but they're pretty high. I mean, and that's not a bad thing, but I mean, so they're pretty high price points
That's
for
correct.
homes.
Yeah.
They're,
These are typically at a premium over your garden
Yeah.
style.
you'd probably be able to get about a $800,000 house for that mortgage you would pay for those homes, just being honest.
Commissioner Oakley, and then I have one more point, and then I think we can call the vote.
I like the project. I pretty much like the design. I appreciate the questions Ms. Mariano had today. I think that helps you in your final design of what you're going to do. And what you can put together to make this even better than what I think it already is would be great for our citizens. And it's a good project. It's got a different look than what most people are used to, and it'll be a good project in this area, so.
So on that point, as we're getting more of these BTRs, built to rents, I think what we're going to be calling them, it's something I had asked, and I met with this applicant twice, was about architectural detail, because we just put some restrictions in on a single family, but because this falls under apartments, we don't have any of those for apartments. So I've asked Terry to bring us back, or by memo or something, to make sure that we're catching the quality in these as well. But I can tell you that this one does that without, I mean, I've got the renderings, and they're putting in a lot of architectural detail, and I think this will be a real asset to the community.
Hey, Madam Chair, I won't be here for it, but when you guys redo, I know you're working on this, when you redo the comp plan, I mean, can we change the name when we have townhomes and single-family homes, whether they're for rent or sale, to get away from the apartments? Call them something else. Rental, single-family homes, townhouses, which what they are.
Figure out the name for these, and then
You
I'm
know?
gonna like copyright it and retire.
No, there you go. There you go.
Maybe when I'm on vacation, I'll come up with something.
My husband says deconstructed apartment.
I think Commissioner Mariano.
Madam Chair, one more
Yeah.
thing. Can you
Okay.
put the map up again for the layout?
While they were doing that, just to let the lady know about public safety, there's 113 new firefighters coming in this year, and
Yeah.
25 just to help with overtime, so no more scare.
So with the layout, if you don't want to do the outside path for an 8-foot path, on the northern part, we have the connection going through. What if you just bring an 8-foot path where that 5-foot path is right next to your townhomes?
I'm not sure which path you're referring
All
to.
right, so in the very top left of the screen, they got a single path, and then the roadway goes, and then there's like a double path that comes down. One's on the edge of the old Pasco Road, one's on the other side.
What's going on there?
If you just make that an 8-foot path, we'll go one side where your townhomes are, or your apartments are.
Oh, that's the front of their house.
I'm
Make
not
that an
following
8-foot
you
instead of
either.
that.
That's the front of their homes. That's their walkway to their
Right.
front door.
I mean, I'd rather have it on the outside edge, but if it's, on the inside edge, I don't care. But something where those families going up and down are gonna have a little more room, like you said, to go walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can make that work
Okay.
as far as an 8-foot path there.
Well, are you going to keep the path along the road for the kids to walk to school, but then you're going to have a walkway for them to get into their homes?
As long as either one of those paths was an 8-foot path,
Okay.
I'm comfortable either way. If we go all the way down, great. If you go around the path, you're going on the lake anyway.
So the
kids
one
aren't
on the
walking to
west
school.
exists,
That's
so
a long
that's
way
the
over.
5-foot path. I'm sorry, the 5-foot sidewalk.
My kids go there.
The one that's east of that, paralleling it, does not exist, so that's the one you're requesting to be an 8-foot wide sidewalk.
Okay, so if there's only one, yes.
Okay,
All right,
and we can do that.
okay.
Yeah.
And to your concerns on the park space, I think when you see detailed plans, you'll see how big these park spaces are.
Mhm.
I mean, they're 60 feet wide.
You
So-
working the 8-foot path up and down, I'm gonna relent on the other 2 units.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get a motion
Move
to,
approval.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, commissioners.
Is that it? Are we done?
I don't know if we're going anywhere.
I know, exactly.
Sounds like a hurricane outside.
Noted item.
Okay, are we done? Sorry, think that's it? All right, we are adjourned.